Okay, everyone. How are you guys? I know it's quite some like it's quite a different time that we are catching up today, but yep, that is where we are right now. So I thought like why don't we just come back and just recap a lot of the World Championship games that was happening right now. So that's why we are here, and I hope you guys are doing good today. How has your what is the date today? Like Thursday? Oh no. Sorry. How has your Tuesday been? Sorry, guys. How's your Tuesday been? Like, if it's great, good for you. So yeah, I'm just switching on my stuff here, just getting all onto all the games that happened in the past 12 days. What a world championship! What what a world championship we had, isn't it? So I thought, why don't we start like have a quick chat about all the games so that you're just absolutely ready for the upcoming game on game number 12. Oh, but wait a second, guys. My camera is missing. Where's my camera? Oh, there's my camera. So, how are you guys? I hope all you guys are just doing absolutely great. Oh, nice day. Yeah, Shaz. So, everybody out there, I know it's a busy, like, what do you say? It's a weekday, right? And I don't know what you guys have been doing today, but why not we just talk about the 12 games that just happened? We'll just take it easy. We'll just relax, chill, and just analyze in the most lightest way possible, because I know like in the past days you guys have seen here and almost everywhere all kinds of analysis, who's doing well, who's doing bad. But what do I personally think, guys, is that I think you guys can ask me any kind of questions regarding what is happening or what is happening in the World Championship. Who do you think is gonna win? There is just two more rounds left, guys. It is game number 12. I mean, game number 13 and 14. I've been having bad days with the numbers, but two more rounds to go, and after that, it is game over, isn't it? So, I don't know who you are cheering for, but whoever is that, I wish them best luck. So it is Gukesh versus Ding, and I thought we'll start from like game number 12 here. And that's what you see on the screen right now. Game 12. And what a game 12 we had. An absolute crazy game 12, isn't it? The world champion, I think Ding just gave everything he had. Like absolutely everything he had, and he just had to go all in, isn't it? So before we just start, I'm just setting up the chat. Yep. So just coming back to this now. So yeah, as I was saying, guys, game number 12 was just absolute madness. Uh, Ding Liren, the world champion, coming back and just what do you say? He just made it, isn't it? He's a man of his comebacks. Like even in the press conference, he was saying about the way he prepared his team, how they helped him prepare, especially Rapport. And I'm sure all of you guys would have heard about the very famous strike back file, isn't it? Uh, just great. Just amazing to see how Rapport really, really supported Ding in this most critical time. And that's the kind of second you want to have. Yeah. So, all you guys who are just watching this, so we are recapping all the 12 games, and not in a very deep way, but in the most easiest way, so that if you're new to the World Championship, if you missed any one of the day, so that you can know what happened, right? So, anyways, guys, coming back to the games that happened. So, we are going directly into game number 12. I just don't want to waste any of your time. All you guys are who are watching, just yeah, you can hit the like button, you can share this, you can subscribe, you can do everything. But if not, you can still watch this, right? So, coming back, guys, talking about game number 12, an all intense game number 12, because Gukesh was leading 6 to 5. Ding was like trailing behind him, and it was, what do you say, like, it requires a lot of mental strength to play this game. And what happened here was Ding started with 1 c4. I saw a lot of analysis and from different recaps and stuff where people told that uh, Gukesh should have really, really expected c4 from Ding. And I think that's absolutely true, because Ding is a very, very well known player of C4. He's like he's played the Catalan maybe his whole life. Uh, I've seen Ding even at his peak. He was playing the Catalan, so he knows this system. He knows the English kind of systems, starting with C4, Knight f3, the positional bind that he brings into the game. It's just really cool. That's how he was, and that's how strong he is. So I think I also agree with this whole fact that they should have expected c4. C4 was a almost a 60-40 bet there. It was very clear that c4 was coming, right? So Ding started with one c4, and Gukesh went on to start with e6. Everybody was really surprised because in game, like in an earlier game when Ding went for c4, Gukesh actually played e5. This was how the game went: knight c3, bishop b4, knight d5, bishop e7. And Gukesh had found some novelties and stuff, and I think he had a great game there. But today, I think what Gukesh and his team would have thought is that, okay, of course, Ding would be prepared for this, right? Ding would be absolutely prepared for this whole thing. So the team decided that let's change it. Let's change and go for e6, and let's try a Queen's Gambit declined. The most solid Queen's Gambit declined. Very hard to crack, right? And okay, so Ding Liren said, okay, fine, I go g3. Let's get the bishop. Let's get the Catalan setup, right? Knight f3, castling. This is the ever so popular Catalan setup, right? So here comes with g3, and once he played the move g3, d5. As always in the Queen's Gambit declined, you hit the center. You just smash the center, and they go with pawn to d5 here. And Ding, as usual, he just played the bishop to g2, just developing his bishop to g2 here. And at this point, Gukesh said, okay, fine, I'll just develop my knight back to f6. Why should I just wait back? I'll just play the typical setup, right? And at this point, Ding said, okay, I'm also going to go for knight f3. The only difference here is that, guys, Ding hasn't used the d pawn. Usually in the Catalan, in the straightforward classical Catalan systems, d4 comes up. The only difference is that he has not played it, right? So there is a chance this could convert into a Neo-Catalan, which actually happened in the game. So this was the situation, and here comes the most surprising point of this whole thing. Gukesh went for d4 here. All good, all fine. He just did not maybe want the Queen's Gambit decline system, or maybe his team had already prepared this system. D4 was played on the board, and Ding said, okay, fine, I'll just castle. And I think from now, Ding was kind of happy here in this whole game. He was kind of very relaxed, and we have seen that, right? He was super relaxed. He knew what was happening. And this is the kind of game Ding wanted when he was trailing behind. He wanted a long game with all the pieces on the board, no quick trades, nothing. So d4, cool. Like I actually expected maybe in this position, guys, like something like bishop e7, castling, and the king could have just gone in and just simple b6, bishop b7 setup, followed by c5, knight d7, the usual Queen's Gambit setup, right? You guys know that, isn't it? And if you have any doubts, guys, do let me know about these things that I'm talking about. I'll try my best to let you know. But anyways, coming back to the position, guys, knight f3 was played, d4 was played, and castling. Gukesh said, okay, fine, I'm gonna go knight c6, support the pawn, just develop my knight and try to get all the other pieces into the game. Ding said, okay, cool, let's go e3. Let me try to break this pawn structure here. And you guys might have seen this whole setup and break, usually black playing it in the Benoni systems. There is this opening called the Benoni against 1d4, where these kind of systems are very popular. So this is what happened. Ding played e3. Uh, Bishop e7 was played. Simple chess, right? Just develop and castle. D3 was played. All good. He takes it. And I think Ding spent some time here. He actually wanted to spend some time here because he was just confused whether he should go with the f pawn or he should go with the bishop on c1. And I agree with that, right? I don't know what you guys are thinking, but don't you feel that? Like, there is this confusion. Should I take with the c1 bishop or should I take with the f2 pawn? Because usually f2 pawn is also a great option because it opens up the f file, gets you d4 very quickly. But the world champion said my preparation or my file named strike back said playing bishop e3, right? And I think after a lot of analysis, people have found out that there was a similar game between Richard Rapport and Nihua. Like both players who's working with Ding, both of them had played a similar line. Nihua is a very strong grandmaster from China. Richard, you know him. He's from Hungary, and he's also a super strong grandmaster. One of those guys who I've seen give the greatest Magnus a run for his money a lot of times. Of course, Magnus has won a lot of games, but Richard is a very, very strong, creative player. Someone you want to have in your team, don't you? Like, he's the kind of guy that you would be happy to have in your team because that this is perfect scenario for to bring in Richard Rapport, isn't it? A game where you want to have complications, where you want to try different ideas, and he's the guy you have to go to, and that's what's my call. So, anyways, bishop e3 was played by Ding. E5 played. Simple, guys. You just take over like more squares in the center. You want to get this bishop into the game. Uh, Simple chess. That's what I feel. And Ding said, okay, let's play simple chess. Knight comes to c3, castling by Gukesh. Rook to e1. Rook to e1, pretty interesting move and a pretty straightforward, decent move, right? Just get your rook onto this file because it's doing much better than being on f1, isn't it? So the rook came to e1 here, and here comes the move pawn to h6. This was an interesting move. I thought personally when I saw this, give me a second, guys. Okay, so that's better. So when I saw this move, pawn to h6 during the game, I thought it's a very interesting move. I thought like the bishop at some point when it comes to f5, it wants to just keep himself in the game by going all the way back to h7. Or some of those kind of ideas is what I really thought. And I think another interesting idea here, which even Magnus spotted out, was you could go knight g4 here. Like Gukesh had to think about a variation where knight g4 was happening, which could hit the bishop on e3 very quickly, and just ask white to decide where are you going to keep the bishop. Where's that bishop going to go? d2, c1? What's your plan? Right? Of course, Ding would be prepared for it. His team would have prepared knight g4. But Gukesh didn't ask that question. He just went for the move pawn to h3. Sorry, guys. All of a sudden, today my voice seems to say that take a rest, man. So, anyways, no, not a big deal. Okay, so, anyways, coming back to the position, he plays h6 here, and Ding just played pawn to a3. Uh, I think just a simple threat that I'm gonna expand on the queen side, and I'm just gonna go with the move pawn to b4. Right? He has to stop it because you're gaining space, guys. That's called space advantage. When you push on that queen side and you gain a lot of space there. And I think Gukesh immediately didn't want to do that. And a5 was kind of the move that Ding wanted in the game. Because if you have watched this till the end, you would have seen that this knight just creates a hell of a problem on b5. This square was something that really just made, what do you say, Gukesh suffer throughout this game, this knight being on b5. But that's cool. What happened here was h3. Ding also played some very interesting moves like h3. It's simply stopping knight g4 to hit the bishop, and it's also giving a space for the king to come to h2 and be safe there. Some prophylactic, very interesting ideas played by the world champion. And before I go forward, guys, if you ask me one of Ding's best games in the world championship, this is the one. So do not miss this game. If you miss any other games that Ding has played, it's okay. Oh, I think you shouldn't miss this and game number one. Those two are the best games, and of course, those are the games that Ding won. But on top of that, they are the best games that Ding actually played. He was like really strong when it came to those two games. But anyways, guys, this was the position, and right now we played the move h3. And once you played the move h3, he plays the move bishop to e6 here, right? He plays bishop e6. I think, okay, fine. As I even talked about this game through the streams, right? When we were doing the live streams, bishop e6, guys, was always a very big threat. It's a threat. I mean, bishop e6, I don't know what I'm saying right now. I was a bit confused, sorry. But bishop e6, the whole plan was not to let d4 happen. Okay? So it is just hitting the c4 pawn. So throughout this game, Gukesh was trying his best not to let d4 happen, but Ding was like, it will happen for sure. It will happen one day. The whole game revolved around d4, and when it happened, Ding timed d4 to perfection. So that's what we are going to see right now. So in this point, what happened was king came to h2. Pretty decent prophylactic moves, right? h3, king h2. Uh, this was the moment I feel Gukesh made a move that does make sense, but I don't know how much sense, right? It was a nice like good go at it. From all the analysis, this seemed to be a move that gave Ding more confidence because the simple plan that a lot of players were thinking about was queen d7 here. Just bring the queen here, create this battery looking down here. It's not a big deal for white, but still, then bring the rook to this open file. Try to put all the pressure on this file. But I think Gukesh thought that in different variations that he's gonna play, there was a big problem all the time on this diagonal on this pawn on b7, which really did not work for him. Like in the long term variations, he felt that isn't b7 in a bit of trouble. So what he did there was, guys, he actually played this move rook to b8. And that actually I feel is something you can see the bar on the side, right? The bar's like, wow, I like that move, right? But the only thing is that I like it for white. I like it for white, not for black. But that's sad for Gukesh, because rook b1 b8. I don't know this rook if it was passive or it could help Gukesh, because if you see through the game, guys, I did not see that rook do too much till the end of the game. I'm sure you guys will see that too. But yep, here comes queen to c2. And now Gukesh plays rook e8. Good plans, just he's just definitely going to create some play on this open file. Knight b5. And here comes the, what do you call him? The mighty knight? That's what you want to call him? I don't know what you guys call the knight. I've heard some people call it the pony. Some people call it the mighty knight. Some people call it the horsey, and different names to it. Do let me know what you guys like to call the knight. I don't know. But still, knight b5, a very strong square. It's very hard to kick this guy away, which also supports in the break of d4 at some point or the other. So this was the whole plan. Knight b5, bring the next rook, break this. You have to break this. This is what was coming up. And at this point, Gukesh thought for some time and he played bishop f5. So I think bishop e6 finally understood that you can't do anything here, and he had to come back to f5 here. But slowly and steadily, Ding kept improving his game. He played rook to d1. What a clean game, right? That's what I was saying. If you're watching this, guys, from anywhere around the world, and if you want to improve your chess, I don't know how much this will help you, but this will definitely give you a good idea of what is positional chess, or what is called a bind in chess. A bind is like, it's like you're caught by, what do you call, anaconda maybe? Something like that. It's just binding around you, like not giving you a chance to do something. That bind, you could just see it here. The Ding bind on Gukesh in this game. It was crazy, guys. It was just crazy here. So what happened is, after rook a d1, Gukesh went for the next plan. He created a new plan. He's like, okay, I'll go knight d7, and then I'll try to plan knight c5 here, and try to create something on d3 again. Try to put pressure on d3, and immediately Ding went for the move queen d2. Because simple thing, guys, like as I told you, the whole plan of this is to explain these stuff as easy as possible to all of you. So why queen d2? Very easy. He just wanted to make sure you want to push d4, and you don't want to have your queen on c2, do you? Like, I don't, because if when I push d4 and just think about my queen sitting on c2, wow, that would be tragic. So the bishop just goes back to g6 here. uh, I thought this plan was actually to play f5 and create some problems, like trying to take over this space and create some issues here. But I think Gukesh was just starting to feel the pressure here. Like maybe he was starting to feel that, okay, I'm out of the opening. So if you look at this now, guys, I think by this point when he played this move, bishop g6, you can see Gukesh had almost spent from 59 minutes. He has gone to 33. That is close to 26 minutes on the clock. And Ding is now a happy guy. He has 37 minutes on the clock. He would be the like super happy, right? But anyways, at this point, here comes d4, and he just timed it perfectly. d4 is on the board. This position is going to open up, and then you will see how strong these pieces are going to get. This bishop on g2, the Catalan bishop, right? And if you're thinking which opening did they play in this whole game, it was a neo-Catalan. It is a very popular opening, and if you ask me, one of the, I think, as I told you guys before, a very popular course that I saw on the neo-Catalan was from Sam Shackland. Maybe you guys can check that out. He's a very top grandmaster from USA. So yep, that works if you want to see that. But nonetheless, guys, d4 was played here, and here comes pawn to e4. And later on, this pawn e4, right? That pawn was the target, and Ding just did a simple maneuver here. Your knight has nowhere to go. You can't go here. You can't go here. You can't go here, right? So simple. Where does he go then? He goes back to the starting square. He goes to g1. Very simple. The knight says, don't get upset me going there. I'm just gonna remaneuver myself. Go here, and here. That's how you like position your pieces in the best possible way. So knight came to b6. I think at this point, what Gukesh was trying was to put pressure on the pawn on c4. He might be trying a4 here, knight a5, and some kind of pressure if possible, but the queen is still there looking at this square, right? It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, guys, because as I told you, this is a bind. Like, Ding is trying to create that bind around Gukesh and just not let him out of this. So here comes the move queen c3 again. Ding just moving around with his pieces here. Uh, just placing them at the best possible squares, because Ding actually told that these were some of the moves that he was so proud of himself finding it. I don't know what you guys I don't know what you guys think about it, but they like for Ding, this was one of the finest moves that he found. The maneuvers of queen c3, queen c2. He moved the queen around here. You guys will see that, and that is what he was very happy about. So even with the move queen to c3, bishop came. What do you say? The bishop came into. Let me increase a bit of the audio. Like, yeah, cool. The bishop came to f6, and it was just looking down at the, what do you say, the queen here. So you can't move this pawn. You're pinned to the pawn, and right now Ding said, okay, queen c2. Right? He tempted the bishop to come to f6. Now the bishop is here. The c4 pawn is very well protected, and you can just wait and get ready yourself to push with d5. Not immediately, guys, because if you do it immediately, knight e5, knight d3, and this mighty knight is gonna make you really pay, isn't it? So you don't want to do that. So at this point, Gukesh went for the move a4. This is a very common idea, guys, just to make your two pawns fix. This is called fixing your pawns. Your pawns on a3 and b2 just got fixed, because it's not very easy to push them out, right? You can, but if you push the b pawn, for example, guys, imagine you play something like b4, a takes b3. I hope you guys know this move, right? This is the ampersand, the very popular ampersand. And when he takes it, you see this, right? Like, if you can't even take it, can you? Because then knight a5 and your pawn is gone. So if you have not seen n% before this, then it's a bit of a problem, isn't it? So you don't want to miss that, guys. So knight a5, that was the issue here. So if you go with the pawn to b4, things were not looking good for us. Things were not looking good. So a4 is a very natural good move that people play at the top level just to make sure the pawns are fixed. And at this point, here comes knight to e2. As I told earlier, this knight's plan was just to go here, here, and just be at the best possible square. So bishop g5, this was considered a mistake, because I think he just overlooked that knight can still just be on f4. Knight f4 was still coming. I don't know what was a bit concerning here. This was a great move, considered as a great move, because I think they were considering bishop takes f4, bishop takes f4. You in a normal tournament, anyone can get scared of this, right? You'll be like, oh my god, this bishop. And then when you move your queen away, pawn takes. But at this level, this is not working at all, because rook f1 will happen, and then this pawn is history, and I don't know how you're saving yourself from it. Maybe you want to try rook e2? No, this rook is not doing much here. You hit d5. These knights are just dead, guys. It's not going anywhere. Do you see anywhere it's going? I don't see it's coming to e5. I don't see much. And sooner or later, this rook will have to leave. Something simple like bishop f3. Kick the rook away, take the pawn, and look at this position. And that's the same question. A lot of people, I think, were asking the question, what is the big mistake Gukesh did here? Why did Gukesh lose this game? I think rather than Gukesh making any kind of mistake, I think he just fought well. He really fought, but the big mistake was that Ding was in the best form of his whole last few years, maybe in recent times. And even Ding, I think, told that in the conference that this was one of the best games he played in the recent times. And I totally agree. What a positional masterpiece. If you want to show a game to someone and let them understand how good is it to play positional chess, I would say this is the game. I think you should just happily show them this game. This seems to be the one for me, right? Because it was that bind that you would just love. But coming back, guys, so that was the whole point why this whole idea is not working here. And slowly but steadily, there is too much pressure here. Things were going downhill. Things started going downhill here. And you can see these two pawns here controlling a lot of important squares. The bishop's looking down here. The knight's looking down at c7. And you just have to defend. And he goes for the move rook c8 to defend it. You see that the rook sat for a long time on b8, then was forced to go to c8. Queen c3 again. Why? Very simple. You don't want to stay on the lines of these pieces like this. You don't want to let them get e3, right? So simple. The queen says, I'll just move out of the way. Easy, right? And at this point, guys, the knight went back to b8. This is really sad if you see this position of these pieces. Like, they're just really. I mean, the queen and rook is fine. At least they're looking down at these files. But this rook seems to be stuck. This knight seems to be having a hard time. And the funny thing is that Ding actually mentioned the fact that he missed the move knight a7. He really missed the move knight a7. That was funny because maybe he was like too strong to just find a simple tactics, right? He was playing chess too strong yesterday that he just didn't want to do simple stuff. He's like, why knight a7? I don't need material. He's gonna show you better chess right now, okay? But he just didn't want to do that. It was funny that he missed it. I thought he just intentionally didn't want to play it. I was like, wow, what a game, man. Ding just doesn't want to take an exchange or something. And Ding is like, I missed it. I didn't see that. So that was a bit, what do you say, awkward. But anyways, he didn't want to play that because the position was so good, guys, that it was not needed. And sorry, I was not looking at the chat at all. If any of you guys are there in the chat, you can hit the like button if you like this stream, if you like the recaps, and you can share this with your friends. You can share this with anyone who's not watching the World Championship because we are on and we are going into a intense final two games tomorrow. Like, there will be game number 13 and game number 14 day after. So it's all tied. The things are equal now, 6-6. Because this game, Gukesh was playing in a point advantage. He was 6 and Ding was at 5 points. But that's what you're seeing right now. You don't put Ding in 5 points. He just becomes like crazy and just goes all in. And just becomes an amazing player out there, right? So d5 was played here by Ding, just taking control over a lot of squares, opening up this for the, oops, not like that. That's not a good way to open up. This way, the bishops opened up. This knight doesn't have any good squares here. This knight doesn't seems to be coming back here. Gukesh had an interesting idea here, which was knight a6 and then to go to c5 and then maybe try to find some squares on d3. I think, of course, d3 or b3 doesn't make sense. d3 makes a lot of sense, right? So this could have been like something he was looking for, but at that point it never happened. Gukesh went for queen d7 because he wanted to save the rook, right? He wanted to play the rook here, and now Ding unleashed the final moments of the game. He said d6. I'm just gonna break here. If you guys are thinking what would happen if he takes it, a lot of simple moves, guys. Knight takes and you're forked again. Your two rooks are forked. I know whoever you know chess, fork is the most basic chess, right? Where one piece attacks two pieces at the same time. That is the most basic tactic we all learned on day number 1, maybe, or day 5, day 10 of learning chess. But let's go back. So they did go for the move pawn to d6 here, and after pawn to d6, c5. Gukesh trying to get some squares on this side and trying his best to bring his knight out, jump to d4. And at this point, guys, Gukesh was down to 7 minutes. Ding had 11 minutes on the clock. And they were on already move number 27. So things were looking nice. I think I should switch on the move counter. Next to the name, Ding's name, you will see that. So where is that though? I had created a move counter stuff. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying my best to find it. Oh, there you go. And you'll see the moves next to Ding's name now, right? So anyways, coming back to what happened, knight d7, c5 was played, and at this point they played this move knight c7. Look at this. Look at your opponent's knight sitting on c7 in a world championship game. Like, that would be really annoying for Gukesh. And he just had to save this rook, and the moment he had to go back, save himself on f8, this guy was history. That pawn is just lost. The bishop said, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the pawn. Knight c6 was played, and now the next move is even more interesting. The bishop said, okay, I have done what I wanted to do. Now I'm just going back, right? It's as if like you send the bishop for some duty and he just finished it and just came back. And he's like, okay, all done. All done. I'm all good now. So the bishop came back to g2, and here comes the move rook d8, trying to put some kind of pressure maybe on d6 or anything, or just trying something. Gukesh was really in a desperate situation by now, and he was trying all kind of desperado ideas and everything, but just not working. Ding just retreated with his knight, threatening this. I know what all threats are coming up right now. Is knight e7 also a threat? Lot of threats, right? So at this point, Gukesh took it. Pawn takes it. You can call these pawns double pawns. You can call them as a weakness, but not in this game. They are crazy. Look at this bishops. Look at the sniper bishops supporting them. It's as if like someone's gone for an attack and there's two snipers at the back, like ready. You put your head out, you're done, right? So I always kind of relate the bishops with snipers. They're just too dangerous, long distance pieces. So when you are playing chess, guys, make sure you don't miss out a bishop somewhere at the edge of the board. Okay, it's super dangerous. The knight goes back, and again, sad story for the knight. He just came out from b8 few moves ago. If you ask me, knight c6 was played like few moves ago. Look at this now. Here, this knight was just sitting here like earlier, and he came out, and few moves later, he's back to b8. The starting square where he had to start the game. Not a happy sight, right? Not a happy sight when you're playing a world championship game 12. Queen takes c5. Ding started picking up everything. Like it's gone strawberry picking or something. He's picking every single pawn out there. And Gukesh just tried attacking him more. Queen to d4. Knight a6 came in. Rook to e7. The seventh heaven for the rook. The rook says, wow, thank you so much. If there is some places the rook love, guys, that is open files and these seventh ranks. They're like, thank you for the takeover. We're just taking over, right? So the queen comes to, the rook comes to e7. Queen comes to b5 here. Gukesh trying to create some kind of counterplay. Looking here, I don't know what he can do though, but maybe the queen's rook's coming to c2 next move and stuff like that. But the pawn says like past pawns are criminals. Put them under lock and key. And the pawn just kept going forward. He played d7. Rook c4 was played, and there was a nice finish here, guys. I don't know if any of you had watched the other analysis, but if not, I'll give you a minute or I'll give you like 10-20 seconds. Can you find what is the finish here? Can any one of you tell me what is the best move in this position? It would have been a like nice looking finish, right? This is the kind of way you want to finish a world championship game and win it. So anyone out there, you guys have any call on this? What does it's white to play and win? This is kind of like the positions you kind of play, right? So what do you think? What do you think, guys? White to play. How do you win this position? Any guesses? I'll give you guys a, what do you say? I'll give you a minute to think about this. It's easy. It's I'm not saying it's too easy, but it's definitely something that you will think about. It's a move that you will definitely be thinking about, or you have to think about, because it's a forced move, and forced moves are moves that you can't skip. You shouldn't skip forced moves, which means checks, captures, and threats. So there is such a move here. Anyone out there, or else I can just put it out. But if you want to think, I think I've given you a good amount of time, right? But anyways, if you're thinking, okay, what is this move you're talking about? It is sacrifice your queen, take the rook, and it's over. Because you'll be like, what the hell? What, he would just take me back with the queen, right? The moment he takes back, guys, rook e8, and there's no stopping this pawn. The queen's coming back. The pawn will promote. Yep, exactly. The pawn will promote, Shaz, and the queen's coming back. And I don't see a way this queen can stop you. Like, how do you stop it? Can the knight stop it? No. Can the bishop? No. Can this rook? No. No. What a sight. What a sight when all your pieces becomes helpless against one pawn that's going to promote back to a queen. And then white is up by a lot of pieces. I think he's up at least by a rook that you captured here. So, great position, right? What a way to win a game. But Ding said, nah, I don't want to do that because I just don't even want to take a risk. But absolutely understandable, because Ding was down to 5 minutes. And at 5 minutes, you don't want to take a risk after playing such a perfect game, such a good, accurate game. You don't want to play a move and just miss something and just end up in a draw or something. You don't want that, right? So Ding said, no risk for today. I desperately need the point. So he goes queen e3, and now things were just all over. Rook c2. Gukesh kept trying. Like, he's a fighter. He's a real fighter. He just kept going. And at this point, rook came to c2, putting pressure on the 7th rank, guys. But it was just too late, because this pawn was deciding this game. This pawn said, I'll decide this game. My next move is bishop d6. The plan is simple. It's rook e8. Then you can't take the pawn. For example, guys, let me just show you a variation. Takes it, rook e8. Now you can't take this pawn because rook takes f8 and it's all gone, right? And that was the reason. Maybe earlier that was not there. You can't play it directly because at least the queen can take the pawn. And now there is no problem on this rook. I hope you guys get the difference, right? The other way around, the bishop was also there. So that's the whole point. But that was what is happening here, and yeah, such a game, right? Rook c2 was played, bishop d6 was played, and at this point, here comes the move f6, and this was the finishing point again. There is one more tactics here. I think a lot of you guys might have seen this because there have been a lot of videos. And hey man, how are you? I can see you guys saying in the chat, and hi to all you guys in the chat. I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope this turns out to be a bit of fun for you. Okay, so uh, f6 was played. What do you guys think is the way white is gonna finish off? Next move, white plays a move and resign. It's game over. Again, forced move, guys. It's a forced move, and it's a move just that can make anyone resign. So if you guys are watching this, along while thinking about the move, you can hit the like button, share button, and just all the buttons on the screen, along with which you can think what is the best move here. You guys take your time. Oops. Oh, wait a second, guys. My cam. Oh my god, my cam was off. I thought it was there. I'm sorry. I was analyzing the whole thing without it. My bad. I actually thought it was on. But nonetheless, it's okay. We have more games to come. But yeah, coming back to the position, what do you think? Rook takes pawn and it's over. Yeah, Asmat, you got that. You got that, right? I know this is a very popular situation because you guys I would have seen the internet fill up with this move where Liren finally sacrifices the rook. And if any one of you was watching all these videos and stuff and thinking what actually happens after the rook sacrifice, it's very simple, guys. If you take it with the king, you simply take the rook with the bishop, and it comes again with a check. That is the important point. Otherwise, the queen would have taken this pawn. But it comes with a check. The king has to do something about it, and when the king does something about it, the pawn promotes back to a queen, and this game is just done. Right? There's two queens on the board right now. That's the kind of chess you don't want to play. Don't let your opponent have that, right? So I don't know what he can play, guys. Maybe run up with the king, queen e7 check, bishop f7, takes with a check again, goes here, checkmate. This game is over. But Gukesh never wanted all that to happen. So after rook takes g7, he resigned the game, and Liren equalized the world championship. That was just crazy chess. And if you ask me, this is one of the best games like I've seen recently. But even from Ding, to be very clear, from Ding, this was a clean bind from Ding. He really got Gukesh in that bind, and but you should appreciate Gukesh too. He's 18 years old. He's playing the World Championship, guys. I've seen a lot of players, a lot of people were very happy that Gukesh maybe lost. Maybe I don't know why, because you need to appreciate this guy. Like he's keeping his calm. He's not getting broken. He's not breaking down. He's 18 years and playing the World Championship. This is the first time he's at this situation. So you need to really appreciate him. Like I think both these players should be really appreciated because they're just good, strong players out there. And trust me, like Ding is the world champion, Gukesh is a challenger. They have done their best to reach here. So it's just that whoever is the better person on that day. At the moment, that is the only thing that's going to differentiate between them. But nonetheless, that was game number 12, guys. And epic game 12 and an epic way to come back into the world championship. What a game. Like Ding. You're down, you just have 3 games left in the world championship, and you play such a game is absolutely crucial. And now the tournament is all open again. It's 6-6. You don't know who's gonna come in, right? You just can't expect who's gonna win this right now. It's a crazy stuff. You guys can let me know who do you think is gonna win it. By the time we will also look at the next game, which was game number 11. So game number 11, guys, that was again a crazy game. That was a game that everybody thought was really crazy. So just putting that up right now. But at this moment, I think I'll just do a final refresh, and you guys will be able to see the final result here. So this was game number 12. Ding wins this game, and this was a very crucial game. So by the time we get to the next one, just trying to see, is this game 11? Yep, that's game 11 for you guys. But this was game 12 that we checked right now, and we'll just quickly go back and we will go into game number 11. Right? And if you guys thought that game number 12 was exciting, but game number 11 was also exciting, but it ended in not a way that it was that exciting. So we go back to game number 11 right now. So You guys take a moment. You can throw in any questions that you have for me, but yup, I'll give you a second for that. So do let me know if you have any questions regarding the World Championship. At the moment, if you're thinking what is the current result, okay, fine, you're showing the previous games and stuff. The current result right now, guys, is that Ding has 6 points, the world champion. Gukesh has 6 points. There is two more games left. It's a total of 14 games in the tournament. Okay, it's a total of 14 games and it's now equal. 6-6, two more games to go. We have one tomorrow and one day after. So that's where this is going, and it is going to be a very intense finish. So don't miss out the next 2 days. Never miss that out. So if you have just started watching the World Championship, or if you feel like, okay, what happened throughout this World Championship, this is the where you can be. You can just watch it here. So just coming back to the next game here, which is game number 11. So we'll take a minute before that. You guys let me know in the chat if you have any questions. Okay, guys, just dropped back to put up a story. Like it's not that we have just gone. So, but anyways, I'm just back. I was just putting up a quick story there. So we are back with game number 11 right now, and we will start that right. Just don't want to mess up my cam. What is it? Here you go. So There we go, guys. Game number 11 right now. So this was when Gukesh was playing white and the scores were tied 5-5. It was all equal. I see your question, Asmat. Like the winner will be champion or others play, uh, or other play will start too. Not really. Like after 14 games, what happens is if someone reaches 7.5 points first, they become the champion. And if it's 7-7 after 14 games, then they go into rapid tie breaks. And then if that's also equal, then you go into, what do you say? Blitz. And if that is also equal, you finally play Armageddon. And in the Armageddon, you will have a winner. that is that is for sure. But that's what's happening in the World Championship right now. But we are back right now with game number 11, the recap of game 11. This was where Gukesh was playing white, and throughout the whole tournament, guys, Gukesh has pushed when he was playing the white pieces. And this is just one of it. So here he was playing the white pieces, and he started again with knight f3. So this might look like a reverse game, like that you saw earlier in game 12. In game 12, you saw Ding playing white and just taking Gukesh down. And here Gukesh is playing white with a similar structure. And he's like, today I will try to take Ding down now. So knight f3, d5 was played. Okay, just controlling the center. Ding said, okay, I'm fine. c4, d4. So Ding actually went for d4 directly. And in this game, guys, you're not going to see too much of moves or anything. What will you see is that you will see a lot of things that happens on the time control. So d4 was played, b4. A very interesting opening idea. There's also a name for this called the reversed Blumenfeld gambit. That's what I think it's called. Okay, I'm not very clear, but you guys can do your research. But this I feel is called a reverse Blumenfeld gambit. But anyways, c5, and he goes for the move e3. So at this point, you call it a reverse Blumenfeld gambit. For this pawn, you can take the pawn. And Ding said, okay, I'll play knight f6. But for this one move, guys, this is actually move number 4, right? And Ding actually had spent, what do you say, 40 minutes? 40 minutes for move number 4. You might think that, what is he doing, right? He was calculating a lot of different things, and it is his style of play. He thinks that is the way to go for it. He just believes that you have to think at critical moments of the game. So Gukesh said, wow, thank you so much, man. You thought for a long time. I play knight f6 here. And Gukesh played a3, which made Ding think again. So the whole point I think even Ding made was that he thought of all the different variations here. Okay. And he plays the move knight f6. And Gukesh just plays a3. And he said all my calculation was just a waste of time after that. Because he did not consider a3 at all. He considered a lot of other ideas like the pawn takes this, taking on d4, and so many different ideas. But just imagine, you think for 40 minutes for a move and your opponent plays something else. You will be frustrated, won't you? Right? So a3 was played, guys, and I don't know. Ding was not a happy guy, so he spent 20 more minutes. He's like, I'm not happy, so I'm going to spend 20 more minutes on the clock. Bishop g4 was played now. Just a simple way to put a pin on the f3 knight. Gukesh took the pawn. Ding takes it back, and he plays h3. Takes. And this game, guys, is a very good example to see how Ding actually made a good comeback into this. So after queen takes f3 here, queen c7 was played. He just developed the queen to c7, and Gukesh was like, okay, I'll play d3. And now Ding plays a very interesting move that actually crams this pawn structure, or just challenges the pawn structure. I'm pretty sure all of you guys might already be thinking about that move. If not, it's okay, but still, it is a move that you should be thinking about. Okay. Any ideas, guys? What do you think that can cram this pawn structure? I know a lot of you guys would have already seen this game and stuff, but the move, a very interesting move, is called a5. This is called undermining the b4 pawn, because now the b4 pawn needs to make a decision. Otherwise, the pawn will take it. You can't take it back. For example, guys, white can't play a random move like this because he will take it. You cannot take it because of the pin. So the b4 pawn has to make a decision. How do you deal with this problem? So Gukesh decided to go b5, and now that's the thing about pawns going ahead, right? Whenever they're moving ahead, they're not coming back. So when you push a pawn, guys, always think that, am I just losing a square, or am I just giving up a square here? And in this whole game, it was a big yes. The square that was given up was c5. And Ding said, thank you so much, man. My knight's coming there. And nobody's kicking it out from there. And I'm looking at your pawn on d3 from here. So that is what was happening. So he played knight d7. g3 is because Gukesh had to develop this bishop, right? And you have to castle. If you're new to chess, that is the basic things about chess. You develop your pieces, you get your king safe, and which is called castling, is what you need to do. And Ding said, okay, I just come to the square I just wanted to be on. I'm just attacking the d3 pawn from c5. And Gukesh said, okay, fine, I'll just go bishop g2 here. I'll just develop my bishop. All good, right? The bishop comes out and he's just getting ready to castle. And now Ding played another interesting move. He said, I'm going to play the move knight to d7. Look at this man maneuvering his pieces. This knight is coming to e5. Attack this queen. Look at d3. This knight is here. This is crazy stuff. Everybody's on d3 right now. All the pieces have just jumped on to d3. And White said, okay, fine, let's castle. Right? Let's just castle and have a good time. And Ding just came knight e5. So if you look at the clocks here, if I just go back few more moves here, in the beginning, guys, like after move number, what do you say, maybe 4, Ding had, okay, after move number 4 was over, Ding had 119, Gukesh had 1 hour 59 minutes, okay? A3 was played, bishop g4 was played, Ding had 57 minutes on the clock, Gukesh had still 1 hour 59 minutes. Now look at this thing after few moves. Takes, takes, h3 was, everything was played within a minute by Gukesh. Takes, takes, queen to c7 was played, d3 was played, a5 was played, b5 was played, all good, right? He still has 1 hour 53 minutes, like close to an hour advantage on the clock. And now what you guys are going to see is that, look at this now. From 1 hour 53, the next move was played at 52 minutes. So can you just imagine the amount of variations and stuff these guys are thinking about? Do you think this is like they're just randomly thinking something? No, it's absolutely no, guys. Like they're really putting a lot of effort into this game. They're just trying, like 1 hour. He's just thinking about different variations, where the pieces needs to come out, and other ideas here. If you think what is he thinking about that 1 hour, right? He's not just randomly sitting there. But anyways, knight c5 was played, bishop to g2, knight d7. We talked about all of this. This was the position. The queen came to f4 here, so this is a pin on it, so you can't take it with this knight, right? And if you take this pawn with this knight now, if that's the question that you have, we still have queen e4 here. Lot of threats. F4 can attack this knight and get you this one. There is ideas of hitting the b7 pawn too. For example, you make some random moves like this, right? And then f4. You see that? And if you think that, okay, why can't I just take this? Lot of ideas, guys. There's deflecting ideas with b6. Because if you play b6, you might think, okay, I can take that too, right? But then queen e5, you attack this and you attack this. So you're going to win a piece there, right? So that's what was happening. But nonetheless, let's go back. So this was not happening. So Ding said, no, I don't want the pawn. He said, I'm going to play the rook to d8, get it to a very good file, support this important pawn of mine in the center with on d4. Makes sense, right? So he goes rook d1 here, trying to support this pawn. You still can't take it, okay? You still can't take it. Why? Boom. The piece is gone, right? It's quite easy. The piece is gone, and if he just takes you back, you just play queen takes c7. And you're just winning pieces back to back, isn't it? You don't want this to happen to you. So let's just go back here. So rook d1 was played. Ding played the move g6. This turned out to be one of the biggest mistakes in the game for Ding. Unfortunately for him, that he was playing everything perfectly. He was taking his time. 39 minutes on the clock, 36 for Gukesh, and they had so much more moves to make. But this turned out to be not the best move for. Sorry. Let me just keep the current move here for you. Yeah. So this turned out to be not the best move for Ding, because he planned on bringing the bishop this way, guys, with h5, bishop h6. This was his plan. But the real plan should have been here, e6. The bishop should have come out this way. This was crazy. This was like really good for Ding. He totally missed this, and he would not be a happy guy missing this, right? He was really in a good mood. He was developing everything. He had the time advantage, but trust me, after this chance that he gave Gukesh, you can see some good moves after good moves. And Gukesh played the first good move, a4. Why a move like a4? You want to get your piece out into the game, right? You want to get the piece into the game. And here, Ding played the move h5. His plan was very simple. He wanted to play bishop h6 and hit the queen. So Gukesh said, fine, b6. A very interesting pawn sacrifice. If you're thinking, why is that? Because you can't take it, guys. Because simple, you got deflected. So that tactics is called deflected. Is this game 11? Yeah, simply it is game 11. We're just recapping the game. Like if you go ahead, if you scroll back a bit, you'll see game 12, game 11. Just trying to go through the most important points of these games. And before we catch up again tomorrow for game 13, the all important game 13. I think the next two games are really intense and it's going to be a lot of fun watching it. So we're just chilling around here today and just recapping some fun games, yeah. But do let me know your thoughts, guys, because I feel I would love to know what you guys feel about the World Championship match. Uh, do you feel it's very interesting? Do you feel there's excitement? Do you think someone will win? Who are you supporting for? And that would be great to know. All you guys in the chat right now. And if you still feel like, nah, I don't want to say anything, then you have other stuff to do. There's another drill that you can do. You can hit the like, share, subscribe, and all those buttons. Yeah, that is another drill because do you think Ding will push for the draw or go for the tie breaks? That is a good question, man. I think if given the chance, Ding might go for the win because Gukesh has faced a very dramatic, or what do you say, it's not kind of a loss you want to face in the very end of the tournament, right? The last game, game 12, was like very serious for Gukesh, so we don't want to be there. But yeah, we'll get to all that very quickly. You put in the questions, guys. I will get to it once every game is over. So just letting you know about this variation. If b6 was played here, queen takes, and this knight on e5 is just history, right? So you don't want to do that. So Ding said, so Ding actually had two options here. He could have gone b8, he could have gone d6. I personally, when I was watching the game, I thought queen b8 was good. I think this was more like logical, but my logic doesn't stand in front of Ding because he is, whatever you say, the world champion, right? Because I thought queen b8, it's supporting the pawn on b7, it's helping this. There is connection between harmony between your pieces and stuff like that. But in the game, what actually happened was that Ding went for the move queen d6, and then Gukesh immediately found this very nice bishop a3 move, putting pressure on this knight, pinning this knight. Now Ding went for the move bishop h6, trying to hit back on this queen, but then trade. This is called an in-between move. You attack the queen, they take back, and now you go queen to e4. A great square for the queen, right? A great square looking at b7. And now Ding had to make a move, and he had to go back with the knight to stop this. He went with knight c6 in this position, and Gukesh played this move knight a3. So if you're thinking, why can't you just pick up that pawn, man? Like, is that not an easy pickup for you? You can, guys, you can, but the problem is there is a lot of pressure on this open file. This pawn is actually protecting black right now. It's actually protecting this b7 pawn from the attack from white. The moment you take it, you come under the attack. So what Ding did was that he like initially just went for rook d7, which was not considered a great move by all these computers and stuff, because you know what, they say that why are you not castling, Ding? Just castle, right? But nonetheless, guys, that's all good enough. But knight a3, rook d7 was played, knight c2. I really like the way Gukesh was maneuvering his pieces here. He's like looking down at this pawn on d4. He's planning to go here. I thought this knight was going to b5. It was never going to b5. We'll see where it was going. So queen takes b6, rook to b1. You put the rook to b1, and here comes the rook. So he has given up a pawn, but he has a lot of compensation for it. The queen moves back. Look at the control over the light squares. All the light squares are very well controlled by these pieces, and this diagonal is crazy. Because if you rook d6 was also a good move. Yeah, he should have gone rook d6, rook e6 kind of an idea, right? That also looked like interesting, man. He was obviously cheating with the okay. That is a bit weird, Lois. I don't think so, right? That's not happening here with the security checks that you have here. That's not happening here, isn't it? But anyways, rook d6 has simply just made a point of it. That was a good idea. Right, rook d6, you could just create counterplay. But at this point, I think after rook b5, Ding could have still castled, which I think he did. And now comes knight a1. This was very interesting. I really appreciate Gukesh for going this way and putting pressure on c5, the square on c5. This was a very weak square, and Gukesh said, okay, I see a weak square, I'm going for the weak square. I'm planning knight b3 and knight c5. I'm just going to attack you on c5, right? And yeah, I feel Ding just ran a bit too much on his clock. You can see he has 14 minutes. Gukesh had 14 minutes, but the next move, guys, he played rook b8, and now he has only 7 minutes. He took half of the time that he had. And this really put Ding in trouble. Like Ding, and they had to make so many moves here. Like if you ask me, where are we now? Rook b8, you can see in the move counter, he had to still make 15 more moves in 7 minutes. That was literally not possible. right? So at this point, so what happened here, guys, is after rook b8, knight b3. So I really think practically this was a great plan by Gukesh, remaneuvering this knight to b3 and then coming to c5. This made a lot of sense because that knight is coming to c5, putting pressure on the rook, putting pressure on b7. There's pressure everywhere. So you don't want that happening, right? True. Okay. So okay, Peter, I see you there. But anyways, guys, e6. This is marked as a blunder because I feel the reason was that it was allowing knight c5 to happen very easily. This was the point, I think, simply that you had to go rook d6. Because now if he goes with something like knight c5, you can, like, it is not easy to defend this, but at least you can try with knight a7. Because if you take back, and if he takes with the knight, now you can go for this counterplay here. Like you can go with h4. You can, I think, even go rook b6 and try to get this open file too. And a lot of ways that Ding could have gone for a desperate idea, but trust me, guys, this is not easy. To be very honest, with 7 minutes on the clock, finding rook d6 and all these plans of creating counterplay is just not humanly possible. It's a bit hard. It was a bit really hard for him. So at this point, e6 was played, knight comes into c5, rook moved, rook came to b1, and here comes the final mistake of the game, queen c8. I know a lot of you guys have seen this all over the internet. This was all over the internet. Queen c8 by the world champion, and I'm pretty sure all you guys know, right? That knight to a1 was dope. Absolutely, Peter. That was a really dope move, because I feel, I'm not saying it's like maybe the best move in the situation, but according to, like, sorry, not the best move in the game or something, but according to the situation that he was playing, knight a1 was the best option. It really puts pressure, right? It's like telling your opponent that I'm going to play knight b3, I'm going to go knight c5. What do you do? What are you going to do? And the answer might be like, and the answer that Ding had for it was that I don't know. But here, guys, after the move queen c8, this game was just over. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it and you know what is the next move coming up, right? And the fun thing is that the next move that happened was queen takes c6, and Ding just resigned. But all over the internet, the one thing that I was reading in different comment boxes and stuff was that, how is this winning? Because Ding just resigned and a lot of people just like got confused. How is this position winning? So very simple, guys. If you're new to chess, it's totally understandable. Like you will have all those kind of doubts because we all came through that, right? Whoever is good there, even if you talk Gukesh, even if you take Ding, even if you take Magnus, there was a day when all of them asked this question: how is this winning? It's very simple. You can't take with the queen, because you can literally, but then the bishop takes back. And now you can see that you're down a piece here. White has an extra piece. He has like 4 pieces, you're down a piece. And if you take my bishop back, you lose your queen. I mean rook. This pin was the problem. I think this is what was a big issue here. And if you think that, okay, why can't I just take it with the pawn then? Rook takes b8 and your queen is pinned again. This is for all you guys who had this doubt, okay? This is happening at the midnight. This match is not happening right now, man. It's like, I don't know what time is it there for you. It's just that we are recapping the games. That's all. It's not a it's not a midnight world championship game. Don't worry. The real game happens 5 p.m. Singapore time tomorrow. And I hope I catch all you guys up for some crazy, crazy intense chess tomorrow. Like some, what do you say? Some absolute madness. It's gonna happen. 2 final games. Gukesh gets a white piece, Ding gets a white piece. So just letting you guys know how this position was winning. If any one of you is watching this has a doubt, like all over the internet, you see queen takes c6 and the resignation happening, right? And someone who's very new to chess is like, what the hell is this? Why did he just resign? I thought pawns could capture like this. Of course, pawns can capture, but rook takes b8 and the queen's gone. You can play anything, but takes, and now you can count the pieces, guys. 2 pieces, while white has 3 pieces, and this game is over. The rooks will come in, pick up everything. This is over. You won't even think of playing this at the highest level, right? Yeah, exactly. This is a recap. Perfect. But anyways, guys, so rook b6 and you win all these pawns. So this was what was happening in game number 11. Pretty interesting game. So if you ask me what is the big difference between game number 12 and 11, was that in game number 11 here, at the very end, when Ding lost the game, he still had a chance if he did not blunder. He could have played knight b4 here, right? And just block this 2 rooks. Of course, you take this pawn. If you want, you can take it. But then rook takes, knight takes, and then I don't know. You could still play e5 and try something here. This was kind of still equal, guys. You can see the bar on the next to the board, right? It is still equal. So the difference between this game and that game that Ding won after that was, of course, like it's nothing to do with Gukesh because Ding blundered, Gukesh won the game. Great for him. But the next game in game 12, when Ding won it, it was like pressure throughout the game. So that is the difference. So that is why I feel tomorrow going into game 13, it will be really, really important for Gukesh, and he really needed the rest day today. So this, of course, like I'm just surprised Ding also recovered very quickly from this. But maybe he thought that he played a good game and just blundered at the very end. So he's like, I don't. Yeah, Ding just collapsed in game 11. Yeah, that's the thing, right? At the very end, he just broke apart. That's all. So that might be one more reason that helped Ding recover. He could like at least think that okay, I was not outplayed completely, right? I was not completely outplayed. I just made a blunder. I lost my game. Okay, fine, right? Good for me. Good for me. I just lost it. And as Ding said, he went early to bed. So if any of you guys have a very bad day, just go early to bed. Have a cup of coffee next day, and you're ready to go. If that's the way a world champion can come back in game 12, that's the way you can also win. Just have a like an early sleep, get back, have a cup of espresso or something like that, and you're all good to go, guys. So that is actually what happened for Ding. That's what he says. I hope that's what happened. And anyways, this was game number 11, guys, and crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Like game 11 and 12 was like the best, if you ask me. Like pure drama, and you need some drama like this, right? This is a world championship. You can't just have like all the draws and stuff. And yeah, you need some quick drama. But now comes the in between part of this whole world championship. Game 4 to game 10. That was a lot of draws, right? So I'm just gonna go very quickly through this, guys. I'm not gonna like really take a lot of your time and stuff on game 10 9, especially game 10 and 9, because game 10 and 9 just finished off like anything. There was nothing much. So it's a very quick recap. You're going to see the quickest recap of the World Championship right now. And that is game number 10. So give me a second and I'll just change the, what do you say, the thumbnail right now. But in between, I mean, not the thumbnail, this background image that you see, just to make it look nice. In between that, you have any questions for me? Do let me know. I'm just getting a stretch in between too. So do let me know, guys, if you have absolutely any questions here. For a second, guys, I thought I just missed game number 10. Yep. I thought I did not even have game number 10. But yeah, there is game number 10 coming up for you now, and it was again, like, as I told you, this will be the quickest recap of the game that you will see right now. So we just go back here and we just try to find my camera. So if I'm taking some time, guys, I'm sorry because this is like week 2 of me streaming. So that has some problems, right? I really, really hope you guys take it like that. But you will see me quite now, like pretty quickly. Just making sure things are looking fine. And here we go. I am back. And we are going into game number uh, 10, right? So as I told you guys, you're gonna see some very quick recaps right now of game number 10 because nothing happened in game number 10 much. So I'll just tell you what was opening and stuff and everything. So in game 10, again these guys were tied down. Question: how to improve at chess? Is there anything specific we can practice to reach something like 1500? Asking for a friend. Oh, that's a good question, man. Like Peter, like if you want to really before we start, that's a good question before we start. Uh, so if you really want to improve, guys, I think do not spend too much of your efforts on just openings. That's kind of a mistake I see people do. Like people really spend time trying to learn openings in chess. I'm not saying it's not important. Try to have a good understanding about your the things that you play as an opening. Try to have some stable opening preps. But after that, I would recommend you really go into your middle games and end games. That is where, like, there's this very famous saying that I always say all the time. Even if you catch me up on my Instagram contents, which is the same, you can see me there the same name, the one chess. In a lot of them, I do say that if you, like, they say that if you're good at the end games, you're good at chess. right? And or it might just be my thing about endgames. I like the endgames a lot, so but that's something I recommend everyone. Try to understand, like you understand chess better there. Of course, opening is also needed, but it's more needed when it's what do you say? Opening is a bit of a memory game and stuff, right? So you need to understand ideas and stuff. But nonetheless, work on all parts of the game of chess equally. Balance all parts of the game. Sometimes the big mistake people do is that they really work too much of time, or they put a lot of effort on just one part of the game, right? And I hope that might not be really helpful. But anyways, coming back to this, guys, coming back to game number 10, I hope I answered, Peter, right? So I hope that helps your friend at some point. So coming back to the game number 10, everyone. So this was a very, very interesting, not so interesting, sorry. I'm just used to saying a very, very interesting game, but not so interesting game. It really ended up very quickly. So Ding was playing the white pieces. It was a queen's pawn opening. Ding kind of went for something similar to the London system very early in the game. Uh, Gukesh said that, okay, I'm going to go e6, e3, c5, bishop e2, bishop d6, pawn takes c5. So this might have been preparations by Ding. Takes it, c4 played. So this can be a queen's, what do you say? You can call it a London system only. Like it is a London system kind of structure. The only thing is that the pawn structure is not the same. In usually the London system, you can see the pyramid pawn structures, right? You don't see that here. But yeah, they castle. Knight comes to c6, and you play knight c3. You just keep developing. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes it, knight h5, just attacking this bishop. And the bishop said, okay, fine, I'll attack your queen. What do you do now? He said, I'll just trade. Let's trade some pieces here again. Knight e4 was played. Knight came back to f6. Knight takes f6. Bishop takes f6. Queen takes queen. Rook takes queen. Trading pieces after pieces. Bishop takes bishop. Pawn takes bishop. The whole thing about this game was that, guys, that once this bishop is out of the c8 square, black is fine. This is the only difference. If you see this, everything else looks kind of similar. This is all similar. The only difference is between this bishop and the bishop on c8. And I think Ding just easily found the way. Like rook came to d1, bishop came to d7, and at this point, rook to c1. Putting both the rooks on open files. If you're new to chess, make sure you put your rooks on open files. That's what the rook loves. Okay, so rook comes to two open files. Bishop just deviated back here. If you're thinking, why did the bishop do something like that? Why did he move to d7 and back to c8? I mean e8. The reason is simple, because you want your rooks to be connected. You don't want them to be disconnected with a bishop in between, right? So that's where the trades happen, and king came to f1. a3 was played, king came to e1, bishop came to e2, g3 was played, takes, knight takes, and this was already going into a draw. You see that? Of course, if you look at this from an endgame point of view, guys, this is not that great for black. But in this endgame, it's fine because he has a double pawn, he has an isolated pawn. But there's no way that white can create targets on this weakness, right? He can't have enough targets here. So king came out, and now both the kings come out, and there's no entry for the kings also. You see that? The kings are not entering anywhere, and there's nothing happening. Black has got everything covered. So that just ends in a very simple draw here, guys. This game was nothing much, right? They just repeated moves, shook hands, and gave everyone a very early day when it was game number 10. Yeah. Whoever was watching this, it was very quick. So this is how game 10 ended. So we have covered game 12, game 11, game 10. Few more to go, and I think I will try to make it as quick as possible. I think game 9 again, guys, is quite easy to understand, which will be the next thing that we are going into. So I just click back and I just go into game number 9, making it very quick. But as I told you guys, it is always nice to get my these thumbnails on, right? So let's get game 9. There you go. There you go, game 9. So I just need to switch off. Okay, guys. So game number 9 was again not super exciting, but there is always something that you guys can take out from these kind of games. Okay, so this time it was Gukesh playing the white pieces, Ding was playing the black pieces. You're now gonna see a very quick recap of game number 9. Okay, because what happened was d4 knight f6, c4 e6, g3, again the Catalan opening, bishop b4 check, bishop d2. The bishops just went back. You kept developing. D5 was played, knight f3 was played, castling was done again, and he castled c6. So these are just typical. What do you say? This is very typical Catalan, where this bishop b4 check is being played. I know this pretty well because I've done it with both sides, and this check is being played to put this bishop in a square where it's not happy. This is not the best square for the bishop. He wants to be somewhere like f4 or something. So bishop goes back, bishop g2, d5, knight f3, castling, castling, c6. Typical structures, right? It's the queen's gambit declined against the Catalan. And here comes queen c2, knight d7 was played, rook d1 was played, and at this point b6 was played. Bishop c3 was played here, guys, just to get this bishop maybe through this diagonal after you play knight d2 and break e4. And that's something similar to what Gukesh tried here. Bishop came out, knight d2 was played, queen c7, rook c1. So both rooks coming on these files right now. Right. So at this point, rook d8 was played. And if you think, what is black's biggest plan here? Black's biggest idea in this position, guys, is to break with c5. He just wants to break c5 here. That's what he's looking for. And at this point, white said, okay, I'll try b4 here. I'll try to stop your c5 with my c5. But black said, no, you aren't stopping me. I'm just going immediately with c5. How do you stop me after that? So he took b takes c5, b takes c5, queen to b2. Look at this now. This is interesting. This was good stuff here, chat. Because he's trying to put pressure on this diagonal, on this long diagonal of b2 and c3. So this was some critical interesting points here. Knight b6 happened. Bishop a5. Just like someone who's just learning chess, right? Even if you're someone very new to learning chess, just understand one thing, guys. You might have just learned the pin. And it happens in a world championship game too. Okay? So your basics are very important. If you're a youngster watching this, watching chess at the moment, or if you're a youngster who wants to be a world champion one day, it's just been day one of you learning chess at school or somewhere. Understand that everything that you learn in the basics is what makes you the best, right? It will be taken forward, right? It will be going ahead. I always hi Yesh, good opening, but I don't know about the mid game. Do you have any sessions? I'll get to that, Yesh, after we just finish this, okay? So just give me that one. This is a quick recap, don't worry. I'm gonna get to all of you guys. But at this point, pawn takes pawn, knight takes it back, bishop takes f3, and in between move just to get rid of this binding. And Gukesh said, I'll also take it, and you take it, and you take it. Now what is happening here is that you just use the lesson of learning to count, right? Just two people attacking, one defender. What do you do? Rook a6. And I used to ask a lot of people, why do you put the rook here and not here? You could have put it here to defend too. Why don't you just put it there? Why did you put the rook to a6? And that's a question I had put forward to a lot of people, just starting off chess people. Okay. And the answer is very simple. You don't want to have such a passive rook. This rook is doing nothing here, while here this rook is doing a lot of stuff. This is an open file, and rook loves open files. Simple logic, guys. Chess is a lot of logic, right? So much. So rook came to a6 here. The queen came in attacking that rook. He took the pawn. They traded the pawns there. Queen a7, a very nice idea. Because now what happened is, when he went back, rook b8, you pin this knight again. So all you youngsters and all you guys out there who just started off chess, and even if at any point of your life when you have started off chess, this is a tactics you will learn very early, right? The pin. And he just did a pin. And now Gukesh was forced to take it, and now you can see all this piling up on the pinned piece. 3 pieces looking down at the knight. Gukesh tried putting some pressure with the queen to b5, but now whatever he did, this move was coming. The computers thinks it's a brilliant move just because they love sacrifices, but it's not a huge thing. It's just getting this pawn. You take it back and you trade all the pieces, right? And then Gukesh offers more trade, and at the very end it was nothing. 2 pieces moving around and both of them trading pawns. But trust me, guys, you know what, if this was like some other normal tournaments you're playing, I think black should try this position. The simple reason is, look at all the 3 pawns white has. They're all isolated, right? So you can try to grind it out a bit, okay? You never know mistakes from your opponents. So don't give the draw very early just because you saw a draw in the World Championship. Don't do that, because these guys are not going to fall for these traps. They know that, right? That's why they agree draws. But even here, Ding tried playing a bit, so just rook e2, king f3, rook d2, rook a3. They just moved the pieces around here. King f5, check, trades the pawns. Ding gets an extra pawn, but that's just not worth it because this is just a draw. And if you guys think that takes, Why did the king just let him take the pawn? This is a draw, guys. This h pawn is just a draw. You just need your king to be here. Look at this now. I just move around, you check me. I just move around, you get here, you check me, and it's just a stalemate, right? It's just game over. If you were just wondering, that's all, okay? But nonetheless, Ding said, no need for all of that. Take my pawn. Let's make a draw. And that's how game 9 ended. Very quick game. I don't think there was too much special about it. Nothing too much to even analyze. No highly critical moments were not there. Just simple stuff. And coming back to your question, Yash, about the middle games and stuff, what do you do? Like, work on those middle games, like, work on positions, middle game positions where you have to analyze and find the best moves, or like try analyzing top level games. Watch a lot of top level chess, like this World Championship, or maybe the upcoming uh, top tournaments that's happening in the world, where like players like Fabiano and maybe Magnus and others play. Keep following that and try to understand some of these critical ideas they try to do in those games, which slowly starts you to develop this thinking process where you start understanding that, okay, so these guys do these stuff, so maybe when you play you can recollect them, you can recollect those ideas, right? And also try to are puzzles helpful? Yeah, puzzles are really helpful, Peter. Like, that's really helpful to improve your tactics from a tactical point of view, right? But not only tactics. If a lot of people tell me the most boring part or the most hard part for them to learn is actually strategies, right? Like positional chess. That's very hard for a lot of people. Try working on that. Tactics, of course, with a lot of puzzles and stuff, you can improve it. But try to improve your positional understanding. When you see a position, try to understand things about that position. Okay? So my favorite opening, I like a lot of openings, even the Catalan. I love the Catalan. I love the Nimzo, Queen's Indians, stuff like that. But to be very honest, even though I love positional chess, right? I just really like this, like when e4, e5, like, or not e4, e5, like when you go for attacking chess with one e4. This opposite side castling stuff and all. It's very interesting, right? Just from a chess enthusiast point of view. But yeah, just having a sip of water, and we are back. And we will be back now quickly with game number 8, guys. So I'm just quickly going to go through everything because I feel the most important part was game number 11 and 12, which we have got through. And game 3 and 1 is also important. Game 1 is very important if you're watching this because it is, again, a very good game that gives you a lot of positional ideas by Ding that was played there. So I think we did, like, what was the last one we did? 9? Okay, there we go with the 8. 8 was quite an interesting one. 8 was very interesting, guys. Like, if you ask me, game 8, it was quite fun. So let's just go with the first move here. So game 8 was where Ding was playing the white pieces, and we don't start anything without removing this, right? So let me try to get game 8 here, guys. There we go. Did I get it? No, I did. I did get it. So then comes me, right? So this was game 8. Ding was playing the white pieces. A quick go through the opening. Again, c4, e5. So this was the whole point, right? In game 12, Ding tried something and Gukesh did not go for e5 when he played c4. Gukesh went e6, and that was really criticized by a lot of people, right? So knight c3 was played, bishop b4 was played, knight d5 was played. So bishop e7, knight f3 was played, d6, g3, c6. Kick the knight away. The knight took the bishop. Knight took it back. Bishop g2. And here Gukesh played f6. He said that this was prepared by his team, which was pretty cool because I think this really made Ding take a lot of time. How much time did he take for the next move? 20 minutes, close to something. He castled. Bishop e6 was played. b3, d5, bishop a3. This was nice. I really thought Ding and his bishop like put a lot of pressure on this diagonal. But then castling, rook c1, a5, knight e1. Ding is trying to maneuver. So Ding is a very good positional player, right? This one's not King's Indian. This one's not a King's Indian setup. This is an English. This is a typical English system, which is kind of, it looks like a reversed Sicilian, this one. So this is not no, it's not King's Indian. It's kind of a reverse Sicilian setup. Because I don't know if you guys know the Sicilian, like 12th move, I'll just come back to move 12. Because in the Sicilian, guys, how does this work? E4, c5, right? But in this one, it's called a reverse Sicilian because look at this now. Same system happened, the pawns went the other way, that's all. Got it? In this one, it was this and this and this, but here now it's this and this. I hope the patterns make sense, right? And if it does, I like English. Oh, really? Yeah, but it's like English is a good opening, guys. Like, it gives a lot of chances, but I'm gonna see. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of surge in a lot of people playing English now, following the World Championship maybe. But knight e1 was played. Ding was maneuvering around with his pieces, trying to break f4 here. Takes the rook comes to f4. Takes pawn takes, and the game was just going on like this. Both of them maneuvering their pieces here. Knight a6 was important because Gukesh somehow had to get this knight into the game. So he played this move, knight a6. Queen c7 was played. Knight d4 was played, putting pressure on this bishop. And Gukesh just went back with this bishop. d3 was played. Knight came to the center of the board. Knight f3. Just Ding was offering, like, see, guys, the Ding that you saw in game number 12 was completely different. Before that, Ding was a different guy. He was like, I'm okay with the draws. Let's go to the tie breaks. Let's have fun there. But when once he lost the game in 11, yeah, it's called in English. It's actually called in English. Yeah. So, but once he lost a game in game number 11, he had to win. So that's why he came out and won game number 12. But knight came back to d7. Gukesh made a few mistakes, but which was not that critical. Takes, rook b1. Here Ding made a big mistake because he missed the move b5 here. This was a very critical point of this game. Takes, and he missed the move queen v6 check. There was a check, and then you take b5. So you take b5, and as I told maybe previously too, guys, like these two pawns versus this one. So this is called a pawn majority on the queen side. These guys are just coming down the board. This bishop is looking down from here, rook is here. And now Ding played a very interesting practical chance here. He played bishop b2, which was considered a big mistake all over by everyone. Bishop takes a2, the pawn is gone, the rook is under attack, but Ding said not a big deal. Bishop d4, I attack your queen. I'm threatening this. He said he missed that one of the knight could come here. Actually, the correct move was this knight coming here. Very much not easy to make as a decision over the board. Because usually over the board, you don't take such a decision. You feel like, okay, why do I put the knight here? This knight who has been sitting in the corner should be coming to the center, right? You don't really put the knight on d7 to c5, isn't it? So he comes here with this. Rook comes to c1. Bishop attacks the queen. And all of a sudden, here comes the plan. Queen e1. What a nice plan. Queen e1, queen f2, put all the pressure here. And Gukesh was in a bit of trouble here. Bishop e6, queen f2, and this piece was in big trouble. Because once he played this, bishop e3 was played. Such a nice move. Because the plan is d4, d5. Attack this queen here. Kick the knight away. There's a pin here. There's a pin there. There's pin everywhere. And this was not good. Like the pattern. Okay, got it. Yeah. Right? So that was what was happening here, guys. And then Gukesh played rook c7 just so that when he's pushed, he can move and his rook is supported by the queen. So, I mean, he can go knight e4, not to b7, right? And the rook is supported and it can't be just taken when it was on c8. So at this point, knight d4 was played. Bishop went away. Knight c6 was played. And finally, Ding gets an exchange here. If you don't take the exchange here, you lose your knight just like that. It's a free piece being lost, right? So rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes, trade, h6. Just giving some space for your king to go somewhere. You need that space, guys. You need that space. So at this point, Ding played king e1. This was nice. I really did not expect this to happen very quickly. Ding found this, and Ding also found another king move here. Because finding these king moves when the queen's on the board, guys, it's not an easy task. Because usually the king doesn't walk out like this in the positions where queens are on the board. That can be risky for you, right? So at this moment, it was b4. Gukesh tried pushing these pawns, creating problems. Queen came in. Knight e5. King d2. Look at that king. That king says, I feel I'm safe here. This is better for me, right? In the next game of defensive and draw. We'll get to that, yes. So queen comes to g2. Queen f2. They just kept repeating. Ding was ready for the draw, but Gukesh said, nah, let's play again. Rook comes to c2. They repeat the moves again. Finally, I think this is still safe for Gukesh until he has this pawn on b3. Even though computers might like Ding's position, it's very hard to play this, guys. So at the very end, Ding found a very nice way to get the draw. takes. b2, some tactics on incoming. Bishop a7. You have to take the pawn. And when you do, knight check, king c3, and takes. If you guys are thinking why this is agreed to a draw, the reason is very simple. You see the bishops, they're opposite colored bishops. Nothing's gonna happen. The pawns are equal, and I mean I call it equal because they're double pawns, so it's not a big deal. This is just a draw. There's no point playing this, and that's how this game ended in a draw, guys. This ended up in a draw, and this was game number 8, which is gonna be very quick now. In the next 10-20 minutes, we are done with this recap. Okay. So all you guys who have been watching, thank you so much if you have been watching for a long time. And do ask me any questions, guys. I would be happy to help you out with any doubts that you have. If not, you feel like, no, I'm all good, then you can hit all the buttons that you see on that screen, the like, share, subscribe, and everything. Okay, smash that. So yeah, Ding, I think, yes, that Ding would, Ding, if given chance, he will try. If you give him a chance, I don't think he will take a risk, or he will be so much in an attacking mode like he was kind of in game number 12, because now he's okay to take it to the rapids. I think Ding will be always happy. So opposite color bishops are draw for sure. Not all the time, Peter. Like if pawns are there on both sides, if there are passed pawns and stuff, it could be different. The case could be different. But in these kind of situations, there is no passed pawns, right? There's no passed pawns. They're all looking like this, and it can be easily defended for both sides. That is why it's agreed to a draw. But if there was some passed pawns and stuff, things could have been different. Okay. So coming back to this, we are done with game number 8. This is going quick now. I will wind up some games very quickly, such as game number 7 was an interesting game, guys. It's something that was fun actually. So if we just go to that, and if I just get that in, where is 7? Okay, guys, 7 is missing. Really, 7 is missing. I just actually forgot to put 7, guys. My bad. You guys will have to be. Oh no, no. Who said I forgot 7? Here comes 7, right? It's a bit of a disadvantage. Yes, yeah, that's true. They see, but at the end of the day, guys, do not count Gukesh out in the rapids or anything. Don't count him out anywhere, because I feel on that particular day, whoever plays good chess is gonna win this whole tournament. That's it. Ding chills in classics and kills in rapid. Good one, Peter. That's true. Yeah, he's good in classic rapids. He won the world championship in 2023 in the rapids, right? So, yeah. And this game, Gukesh was playing the white pieces, guys. So Gukesh went for knight f3 again. This was game number 7. They both were just developing the pieces. This is called a Neo Grunfeld. Okay, this is called a Neo Grunfeld system, where the pawns are on d5. It's not a King's Indian system, if you ask me, because in the King's Indian the pawn will be on d6, not on d5, right? So rook e1 was played. Ding took the pawn, and he took a lot of time to take the pawn. Gukesh goes e4 here, and now Ding says, I'll just go bishop g4 and pin you. Knight d7, c5. This was considered a very early mistake in the game. Ding misplayed some opening ideas here, because he thought he had some more plans in these positions. Like he kind of found ideas like d5. I'll show you. He played d5. He thought e6, h3, takes, and then he thought that taking, and there is a pawn here. But at the end of the day, it's big pressure. Knight takes c4. If you take, and if you take with the knight, guys, knight c4, and look at this now. Look at the pressure on this diagonal, and that's why this bishop on f3 is called a Catalan bishop. It's called a Catalan bishop because it's very strong from there. Believe me, I don't know anything about chess and stuff. Still watching for 15 minutes. That is cool then. That is cool. So we are doing something fun then. So thank you so much, Neha. Like that was quite interesting to hear. That that actually gave me some energy to do this. Yeah. But thank you so much. I think so. Like this is just a recap now. Like this is just recaps, guys. If you're new here, this is just recaps of all the 12 games that happened in the World Championship. But you will catch us live with the live game happening on Game 13 tomorrow, 5 p.m. Singapore time. So that will be really interesting stuff that you'll be watching. And it's really intense right now, because as of now, the score is 6-6. 12 games are done. It's 6-6. And we still have 2 more games. So whoever can reach 7.5 out of the 14 becomes the new world champion. So that is what is happening at the moment. But nonetheless, coming back to the game, and I hope everyone watches, even if you don't know chess, which will be great for you guys. Bishop takes f3, and this is why this Catalan bishop, which sits on g2, is so strong. It just kills you in this diagonal, guys. Like, I have experience being killed and killing people too. I don't know if that's the best way. Plot twist: the streamer also doesn't know anything about chess. He was just faking it all the time. Absolutely, Peter. So I hope you don't put that out to a lot more people, right? I'm just faking it. I'm not even real. I'm just I'm not even a real person. It's just that even that's fake. Yeah. So just kidding. Coming back, guys. Bishop takes f3. Let's see where this is going. But Ding did not go for the pawn here. So Ding, what actually he did is he just developed his pieces, and the computers think that, wow, good man, good that you're developing pieces. And here comes knight takes c4. Yep. Isn't that Peter? So knight takes c4, b5 was played, knight a3, putting pressure here. Ding tried holding it together here, and now we'll see what happens. Bishop f4. Look at these two bishops. This is why I always call them the snipers, you know. They just look like snipers far away, not letting your pieces go anywhere. They're crazy pieces, guys. Like, a lot of you guys love the knight. I know that. You guys think doesn't matter. I like it. Yeah. Is it? So, yep, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people thinks that knight is the tricky piece, but do not underestimate the bishop. The more you understand that piece, the better you become. So yeah, that's what's happening after bishop f4. Rook e8, queen d2 played. Rook comes to d8. And why is a move like queen d2, guys? Because you connect your rooks like this. This is how you do it, right? You connect your rooks. So knight comes to c2. Very simple reason again. Why would you put the knight in the corners? Like, if you have not heard of the very famous saying, the knight at the rim is dim. If you have not heard it, you heard it now, right? So the knight at the rim is dim. Don't put them there. Yeah. So knight comes back to f8. b4 played by Gukesh. c4 being played. And Gukesh really had a good advantage in this game. This was the game that he was so close to winning, I guess. I think this was that game, right? Yep. Queen to a6. Bishop to d4. Trading the rooks here. And finally, Ding decided that I'm going to go all crazy right now. I'm just going to go all crazy, and I'm just going to take this pawn on a2. He's like, forget it. Just forget about all these things about pawn grabbing. I'm going to go for it. And I think I mentioned even in that stream that day that, look at this actually. This is like your kingdom, and someone has just sneaked into it. And this is not good while you play chess, guys. Do not go into your opponent's space alone. It's just dangerous. You might not come back. That might be the last time your teammates see that piece. Yeah. But nonetheless, rook a1 was played. Queen to b3. Rook a3. I thought this queen was trapped, but Ding didn't think that. Chess bots play positional, always balanced, bit predictable, I guess. Yup, queen to b1 check, king comes to g2, rook d7. This was a game where I felt Ding lost it. This was really the game Ding I thought was over. This was another game Gukesh would be really, really frustrated, or if things doesn't go his way in this world championship, this might be a game that would really be something he will think about, that if I had won that game, if I had won game number 7, things would have been different maybe. So it's not over yet, but this is definitely something Gukesh would be thinking about, right? Rook to a5. Gukesh said, I'm going to get your b5 pawn. Queen b3 again. Attack him again. So if you think, why are they repeating moves, guys? That happens at top level chess. One thing, sometimes to gain time on increment, sometimes to get your moves closer to move 40 here. So rook queen back, and then he took the pawn. The perfect move. Queen d3, again a mistake by Ding here. Queen f4 was good by Gukesh practically, because Ding had a lot of difficulties finding a good move. Because if you think that taking this knight is good, which was taken, bishop takes f6 was played. Queen came back, trade, takes it. So there is one thing that I felt personally that Gukesh could have thought about, guys, is that I don't know if he had to trade this bishop. Maybe he thought that bishop could help this pawn to be very good, right? If you play bishop g5, he might have thought this pawn and this bishop together could be very annoying. But to be very honest, having these double bishops in this position was amazing. It's really amazing. Along with this passed d pawn, they could have just created chaos for Ding. I really thought Gukesh might play that, but he didn't. I was a bit surprised when he traded off these bishops. It's not as if like I can think better, but it's just that I felt the double bishops were interesting. But of course, like, Gukesh had his time. He thought about it and played it. But he was going low on time. He was on 13 minutes. Ding was 7. Traded. And this was it's a very logical way to go to this endgame, guys. Because isolated pawns, isolated pawns, isolated pawns, isolated pawns. isolated pawns everywhere. So this is called pawn islands. You see how many pawn islands does he have? One pawn island, two, three. These are considered one, okay? Three, four. Four pawn islands. Well, even though Gukesh has three of them too himself, it's better for him. Because for like three is less than four, right? So yeah, less weakness for Gukesh. That's the easiest way I can put it out. But rook came to c5 here. Knight came to g6. Rook took the free pawn. Knight came in and trying to trade off these things. And Gukesh went rook d4. Knight c6. Ding was trying his best in this game to hold on. Rook came to f4 attacking this. I think Gukesh was just better. Knight here. b5. King came in and at move number 40, guys, Ding actually, like he just pushed it. This king tried coming this way. And at move 40, this was a mistake. Because the king just went away from f6 and now this pawn is gone. And Gukesh went for it. The knight took the center pawn. This was gone and this guy could have been very dangerous in this game. But nonetheless, knight c3 was played by Ding. So many mistakes up and down, guys. But rook c6. Gukesh was like, I thought moments away from winning this game. But all of a sudden, king e1 turned out to be a mistake. And now Ding said, I'm going to play f6. Ding, in the press conference, guys, he actually, if you play the World Championship chess, do you have the same mindset that you have right now? Good question, man. I'll just explain that after this is done. So, pawn to f6 was played here. And Ding actually told in the world, what do you say, in the press conference that he was about to resign here. He couldn't find a move. And he played pawn f6 because he couldn't find a move. That's why he played it, right? But then h4 was played. Rook came to d3. Bishop to d1. And then Ding got this all-important f4, which just destroyed this pawn structure. And this was getting easy for him then. Takes, king takes. Tried attacking these two guys, but there was some very nice tactics. Rook comes to d5. Rook pinned him. f5. He goes here. King f3. And this, you see the whole compensation for Ding was that his king is just so active. And this king is a bit stuck here. And the pawns are now all isolated. He can just get one by one, right? So he played bishop here, check. King g2. Rook here. Rook e5, some very strong moves by Ding. And at the very end, like they just kept moving the pieces and the isolated pawns started falling slowly. Knight came in. He took one of the pawn. And now he's going to round up on this pawn too. Because here, your king just comes back towards the pawn. The knight, king and rook together. Look at this. Three people together will get this pawn. Your two bishop and rook is not just enough to save it. So that's what happened, guys. King came in. Bishop tried doing something, but it was just not enough. So they just kept trading pieces and finally you sacrifice the knight. If you're thinking, wow, why did you do that? It's because simple. You just cannot win with one bishop. In chess, you cannot win with one bishop. If someone new is watching this, to follow, if you like chess, this guy, okay. Yeah, guys, but that's fine. If you like it, you can just hit the subscribe button. Thank you, Peter. And if you mind the world championship, okay, yeah, so about the mindset, right? So coming back, this was game number 7, guys, and that also ends in a draw. And about your question, Yash, as I told you, like mindset, I think chess has a big, like 50% of chess is played. Like there's a lot of psychology in chess. You have to be good at that. So I don't know, like what would be my take on it, but yeah, the mindset, there is a huge pressure, right? You have to really appreciate both Ding Liren and Gukesh because just imagine the amount of pressure through which they're playing through, guys. Like just imagine they're playing this whole world championship. The whole world is looking at that. Like so many people, millions of people out there are watching their games. Like their own countries, like back in India, the whole team from India is looking down at like Gukesh, like there's huge fans there and the media, everything is down there. And if you think about Ding, we don't know. Me personally doesn't know what's happening in China, but it could be huge, right? It could be huge there too. So it's huge pressure. So you have to go through all of that and stuff and things like that. But nonetheless, that was game 7, guys, which also ended in a draw. I hope that was nice because now we are going to quickly recap 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and we are done and we'll be saying goodbye. Okay. So coming back to game number 6. A few interesting games. Some of the games we will be looking down very quickly because I don't think we need to spend too much time on some of the games. Like we're just going to have very quick recaps. Now we are back to game number 6 at this moment. And this ended up in a draw again. which we will be doing very quickly. This was an interesting game actually. Uh, the only thing I just need to do now is find that game six, and yeah, there you go. I'm quick, right? Quick with that. That I need to remove. Yep, this one, right? So there you go. This was game number six, where Ding was playing the white pieces. This ended up in a draw, but this was a good game. And for all you guys who for all you guys who love the London system, guys, for all you guys who love the London system, watch this game. D4, knight f6, bishop f4. This is called the London system in chess. And how do you recognize it? Is this pawn structure. You see this? The pyramid pawn structure. A very popular opening out there nowadays, but yeah. Ding played it. Gukesh played bishop d6. Some crazy opening prep, guys. Bishop b5 check. Knight c6. Takes the knight. Takes it back. And he's like, okay, we trade some pieces. And I go queen a4. The plan was to go queen a3 and try to win this pawn. Gukesh said, that's okay, man. You get it. I go knight e4 and support it. Now what do you do? He said, okay, let's trade that knight. Who's helping it? Then Gukesh said, I'll break here. You see, what Gukesh was trying to do, guys, he was already undermining this structure of white in the London. And once that pawn structure breaks down, it's not a happy position for players playing the London system. So knight takes e4, pawn takes e4. Ding did win a pawn, but Gukesh doesn't bother. He goes queen g6, very nice move. If you think you can castle, don't think about it, because bishop h3. You might even get checkmated. But if you play g6 here, then it's fine. He can get a rook for the bishop, and that would be good for them. So don't do that. And that's something Ding doesn't do. He plays the move, knight d2. He gives back the pawn. Gukesh said, okay, fine, I'll take it. Castle long. That's interesting, because you can castle on both sides of the board in chess. It's not just one side, right? You can go either way. So he said, just castle long here. And now what happened was queen takes f2. This is capture on f2. Pawn takes on e5 here. And here comes the move rook to b8. This was one of the games that I felt there was a lot of hope. This was a very exciting game. Like, I thought this might not end in a draw actually, because there was open files against each other's kings castle opposite sides. I love this kind of exciting chess. But then what happened, guys, is that it's just knight c4. Bishop came in. This knight was very dangerous because it was going to d6 in this game, and he decided rook d2. I'll just play rook d2, attack the queen. Queen goes here. Rook e1, because this was under attack. You have to support this weakness on e3. So he takes it. You take it. The knight is gone. The bishop is gone. This was a major piece endgame. If you're thinking what kind of an endgame or what is a position like this is called a major piece endgame in chess, where you have all the major pieces on the board, right? Or yeah, kind of a middle game or a major piece endgame, right? Queen f5 was played. Queen takes the pawn on c6. Queen takes the pawn on e5. Things were looking equal, and Ding was ready to make a draw here. Ding's like, okay, let's call it a day. Offer a draw. And Gukesh said, no, no draws, right? This was very critical because everybody thought that Ding was having a good position, and everyone thought Gukesh was going to take the draw. But he didn't. He wanted to fight on here, which was great intent by Gukesh. I think we need to appreciate that. Rook d1, g6, queen e5. They just kept moving the pieces around. Rook e8 happened. Queen g3. Ding was still doing good, guys, because this rook was stuck to this weakness on e4. And you cannot play f5 because that weakens the king a bit more. So the queen went back. Queen f4. The queen went the other way. He's like, now I'm going to attack you on this side of the board. a3 was played. Queen here. Maybe he's trying to sneak in, maybe. Rook d4. Putting pressure on the weak pawn on e4. And now Gukesh said, time to get my queen in. Look at this queen. But the problem for Gukesh was that, guys, it was only the queen. These two guys are just stuck. That is why Ding has the advantage here. When you are attacking someone, if it's only one piece, that's not working. Uh, you are really good at explaining stuff, even better than. Oh wow, how do you know this much? I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know why you like this, but if you like this, that's great, right? Because I'm pretty new at streaming chess. But if you guys want to really catch me up making content in chess, you can catch me up on Instagram. I make a lot of these few minute videos, right? Quick videos. It won't be this long there. It's the same name. It's the one chess. In one go, you can just type it down and you will see. It's a bigger set of people out there. Like, we have. It's not that big, but there is a good like amount of community there too. So if you guys want to catch me there and watch me do something quick and not take this much time, You can see me there too. Okay. uh, it's the one chess, I guess. Yeah. But anyways, coming back. Yeah, sure. Yes, one day. Yeah, one day we will. But getting back to this position, as I was saying, guys, as to all the other people who are watching, I'm sorry if I just went out of the game. It's just that when you're attacking, there is this very fun saying. You know what is that? It says, "Bring everyone to the party." You, how is a party fun without all your pieces? That's what's happening to Gukesh here. The queen was the only person partying. She was all alone partying here, but the others were just stuck on the other side. So rook d2, queen f3. Here, Ding gave the game away by letting him trade this queen. So Ding had to give the trade in a different way. He had to either play queen g3 or he had to play the move queen g5 and avoid the trade, right? But the mistake that Ding did here was queen king c2, because after the trade, look at this pawn coming now, f5, and now this pawn over here, guys, this is called a protected pass pawn. This is called a protected pass pawn, which is actually a very strong pawn in the end games, right? So be careful about this guy when you play your game of chess, because it's protected by someone and he will be very annoying in the end games. But Ding said, not a big deal, I'll play h4. Gukesh pushed the pawn, rook e2, rook e7, which was a mistake because there was a very nice idea that I really liked in this game, king g7. Because if you give a check, king h6, this king can actually walk out this way, take the pawn, win the game. That's something I thought would have happened. But nonetheless, that never happened, guys, because Gukesh decided to go rook e7. King came in, and then it was just all over. They traded off some of the pawns, and now the position repeated. Check, send the king back, and came back and stopped the pawn. The king came out again, check, send the king back, and then come back and stop the pawn again. Same thing, right? It's just repeat the drill. Check, and send him in like up and down. That's all. And at the very end, after king g7, they agreed that, okay, let's call it a day. It's a draw, right? So if I refresh it, I think I can even get it come on the screen that it was a draw. And at this point, they were 3-3 after game number 6. Some exciting stuff here. Like, it was really exciting at this point. And the games were good, guys. A lot of people have this thing that the games were not that great, or it was a bit not working well because uh, they felt there was too many draws. But don't think like that, guys. The games were actually hard fought games. They were exciting games, because if you think about 2021 World Championship, Magnus Nepo, I think 5 games were draws and people were getting frustrated, especially Magnus. He was getting frustrated. 5 draws in a game. But in game 6, he played for 7 hours and made it. Like, he converted the game. So cool stuff, right? But anyways, let's come back, guys. Let's get to this one. So let's finish this off. Last 5 games, and trust me, do not miss game number 1. I really felt that was the best game. Like, not the best game, one of the good games Ding played. Even a lot of people think Gukesh played a bad game, but I think Ding also played a good game there, right? Coming into the first game of the World Championship, and he actually managed to make it work. So let's get to that very quickly now. So let me not waste any of your time. Let me just get back here and let's go to game number 5. I think 5 and 4 was some easy draws for us, right? 5 and 4 was not. Okay, 5 was interesting. Okay, 5 was interesting. I'm sorry. 5 was really interesting. Uh, but let me change my thumbnail changing skills. But for that, I need to find 5. I think I found 5. There we go. There we go. So here we are at game number 5 now with uh, yeah, with me back, right? But nonetheless, guys, this is game number 5, and this was a very very interesting e4. This was the very last time Gukesh actually played e4 in this whole tournament, in game number 5, because both the times it did not work well for him. He tried it in game 1, he lost the game. He tried in game 5, he was under pressure. So not the best of the e4 never worked out for him this in this whole tournament. So e4 e6, d4 d5, he controls the center, takes. This is called the French exchange variation, which was once considered to be a draw. Like, it was just a draw. But nowadays people are still playing it. They're trying to create something out of it. I think the meta has changed a lot, and this is what's happening. Takes, knight f3, knight f6, bishop d3, c5. Quite interesting. There is a lot of players who suggest this move here. c3 was played, c4, you go back, right? These pawn structures can sometimes be coming under pressure with b3 and attacking this pawn structure. But then he played bishop to d6, guys. Queen e2 check, queen e7, trade the queens. We were already closing in like in the middle game, so you can't call this position an end game. A lot of people think this is an end game, and you can actually call this a queenless middle game because you see all the other people are there, so it's not gone that far into the end game. It's still the middle game, right? So this is a queenless middle game, but still the king is. So if you're thinking, then why is the king in the center? Why, like, he just took with the king, why can't he castle now? Because kings, guys, the only person the king is scared of is the queen. It is a funny logic, but that's true, right? The king is really scared of the queen. That's the whole point the king castles in chess, right? Otherwise, why would you castle? The king castles to be safe until the queen's off the board. Because it's a bit funny thinking about it, but yeah, that's what's happening. I don't know if that's what's happening in life for you, but that's what's happening here. What if I play people to lose games with me, so I get high FIDE rating and then leave chess at the peak? That is the point, Peter. Like, you can't do anything then. You have a good rating and that's it, right? Like, we can't do anything. But is that what is the final thing about it? You can you can leave at the peak, but what did we achieve out of it? At the end of the day, what did you gain out of it? Is there any fun in it, or did you gain anything about it? Right? You would probably be banned from video as soon as they find out. That's true, maybe. That's true. Peter needs to be like Peter. We need to send Peter's thing there. Yeah. But see, guys, it's not about the ban or anything, right? At the end of the day, what do you gain out of all of that? Yeah, nothing. There's no fun in it. Just play, have fun. Just have a lot of fun. Of course, ratings can give you like some satisfaction and stuff, but just have fun. Travel the world, play chess. Chess is everywhere. Every country you go, there will be chess. Yep. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. That's, if you ask me, that's one of my dreams too. But that doesn't matter. My dreams don't matter now. What matters here is this World Championship game number 5, and what matters is me doing the recap quickly. So in this game, guys, the king came to e7 here. Castles happened. Rook e8, check. King went inside. So this is kind of something called an artificial castling. It's similar to an artificial castling. It's not a real castling, but it looks like something similar, right? So you can call this an artificial castling. Yeah, Peter, you will be really poor. Rook takes rook, king takes it, bishop pins, try to attack this knight because he's just going to take and double your pawns, which is not good for you, right? So knight d7 was played, knight d2 was played, a3, I mean h6, sorry, why did I even call this a3? This is h6. Kick the bishop, knight h5, rook comes to the open file, king f8, g4 was played, hitting the knight on h5, and now the knight comes to f4. Things were slowly getting better for Ding in this French exchange. Gukesh was like missing things out one by one. But at this point, guys, after knight b6, g5 was played, takes, knight takes, bishop d7. Everything was looking equal until Gukesh went for not something that was not that great. Rook e8, things were getting traded. Knight e5 takes, he just had to take it with the rook. And this was a draw. And this was just game done. But here what happened is Gukesh was a bit more optimistic, so he took with the pawn, and this turned out to be a mistake. You can see the question mark. And this symbol means there was a mistake. Double question mark is a blunder. So he took with the pawn here, and then all of a sudden knight comes to d3. And that is a dangerous knight. And here comes bishop takes d3, pawn takes d3. And the fun thing is that this pawn is too hard to get. You can't get that pawn. It's super hard. The bishop comes here and supports it. And this is a very dangerous pawn here. And at this point, Gukesh played f3, trying to get the king into action here, which will be very helpful in the endgames. Knight c4, this was a bit doubtful, guys, because knight a4 was better here. You could attack these two pawns and put more pressure, forcing this rook to come to b1. And the rook hates to sit behind pawns. Rooks are like, why am I even sitting here? Why do you even put me behind pawns? It doesn't work for me. It's not so great, right? So that is why that was not looking nice. But on that particular day, Ding decided to go knight c4. Takes, takes, and somewhere I think even Ding said that he thought this was just a draw. He thought it was hard to convert here. Rook e4 came. Gukesh played some perfectly accurate moves here. Bishop came back. Rook came to d4. And at this point, bishop takes f3. King came in. And here, Ding had one more chance to keep the tension on this line so that d2 becomes a problem. For example, guys, he actually went back with bishop here, which clearly ended this game in a draw easily. But if he had played this is interesting. You can try this when you're playing with someone. Let him take the pawn, guys. That's a bait. You push d2 and the pawn's a queen, right? And why can't you push it now is because the rook is here. So you can't do this now, can you? Who do you think is a favorite now after round 12? That's a very nice question, maybe because I think there is no favorites anymore. Because game 11 was a big loss for Ding, right? It was a big loss. It's a 50-50 thing now. It's absolutely going down the wire tomorrow. And if you guys think what we are doing at the moment, guys, all you guys who have tuned up right now, this is the recaps of game 1 to 12, but we did it from 12 to 1. Okay. This is a recap. If you are new to chess, if you are not understanding what the world championship, what the thing is happening right now, this is what is happening. All the games are here. You can watch it whenever you want, and I hope it stays like after 10 years I come back and watch this myself too. Right? But tomorrow will be game 13, 5 p.m. Singapore time, and day after game 14, two more games left. It's like anybody's game right now. That's what I feel. Because Gukesh had a very bad loss yesterday. Ding blundered badly in game number 11, so they both had punches given to each other, and that is looking pretty interesting for the audience. If you are the audience, you are gonna have a fun time, guys, in the next 2 days. But here, King to F2 was played. As I come back to the recap, King F2 was played, but Ding just let him take the draw. Bishop C6, take the pawn. Rook comes in, trade, and opposite color Bishop Peter. You said it earlier. It's again a draw because again Peter, there's no pass pawns. You see the position? Like this is a pass pawn, but the king can easily stop it. And he even gave up the pawn and just created a fortress, and just that's just a draw. Both players were just happy that this game ended, right? So we are now finished till game number 5. Last 4 games, and we will be finished in no time, guys. And there we go. Game 5 is done. This ended in a draw. It was a French exchange. Both players has some chances, but not very well. Ding was the one who had the clear chance. But after this game, guys, Gukesh never played the French again. Till game 12, no French. It was all English openings against each other. So, yeah, maybe Gukesh understood that Ding is very well prepared in the French. It's not working, right? So, yeah, from here, where do we go? Will we go to changing my thumbnails, maybe to go to changing the backgrounds? And here we go to game number 4. We're almost done, guys. Whoever has stayed here with me, big shout out to all you guys. Do let me know if you have been watching from some time. It is just amazing if you guys did that. uh, I don't know what to say. Do let me know that if you have been watching, or if you're just new here, then how are you guys doing? Because here comes game number 4, and on top of that, here comes me, right? So game number 4, guys. This was a very fun, or rather a not so fun game, where Ding was playing the white pieces, and he started with knight f3, and he started with this very interesting b3 setup. This is there's another name for a Nimzo an attack here, but I think this is similar to some Reti systems that you play. Bishop a3 was played. I was interested about this move, creating some doubts on your opponent. Castles, e6, takes, knight takes, because if your king or rook takes, you can never castle again. If you're new to chess, quite new still, yeah. That's okay, maybe it's fine. But if the king or rook takes, guys, simple, you just can't castle. Just letting you know if you're very new to chess. Knight takes c4, right? Still something around the English openings with this one. Knight came back, knight out, castles, takes, b4. Ding tried creating some things on this queen side in this game, but what happened here is c6. Gukesh was just dead solid here. And this is a very interesting idea, guys. Just like in the London kind of system, you play this move h6 so that you can keep the bishop all the way inside. The sniper that I was talking about. The bishop's a sniper, guys. Remember that. I should watch you daily with. No, not really. You can catch you live after some hours, like when it's 5 p.m. Singapore time. Okay, because that's when the World Championship live game is gonna happen, and we'll be doing that. That's gonna be an even more relaxed, chilled out stream, guys, because I don't have to finish anything, right? Like I don't have to finish the stream or something, or finish the recaps, because I just have to sit back, relax, explain to you guys what's happening, and then chill and just wait for the players to make their moves, right? But nonetheless, coming back to the position. So this is what's happening. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn, b4. Ding was trying to do something with some extra space on the queen side. c6. Knight comes to d4, just attacking the bishop. Bishop said, okay, bye. Goodbye. I'm going in. Queen b3 happened, and now comes knight e5. Maybe the knight is trying to jump in to d3. a4. Rook c8. a5. Gaining space, guys. This is what's called gaining space on the queen side, okay? B6 was played, knight came back, some trades here, D4, quite an important break in the center. Ding just came back, trade. Things were looking equal. Rook D1, attack the queen. Don't think there's nothing, okay? Long distance attack. You're attacking the rook, I mean the queen on D8. So queen comes to E7, takes, pawn takes, knight C3. They just kept on trading pieces, and this just ended in a draw just like that. Nothing much, right? Equal number of pawns plus what else do you have? Nothing. Just trading off everything, and that's a draw. There's no way you can make an improvement here. Of course, black has a pass pawn, but the king is very active. They won't let this get in, right? It's just one pawn. Nothing's happening. They repeated moves and the game is over, right? And that was game number 4. The recap of game number 4. Quite an easy game, like nothing special there. Just both players developing their pieces, getting everything out. Ding trying something on the queen side, but at the end of the day, it was not working. Game 3 was exciting. Okay, game 3 was really exciting, and that's what you guys are gonna see right now. If I can manage to get the thumbnail again. There you go. There you go. Those two smart guys, sir. And now we're gonna see the third one, but wait a second. Okay, and where am I? Okay, here am I. Coming back to the games, guys. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just checking something on my camera. If things are all fine. I think it is. It's been some time since we have started the stream. But do catch up 5 p.m. Singapore time tomorrow, guys. It will be a lot of fun. There's a lot of these people in this. Like the chat is really great there. The chat is amazing at that time. You don't want to miss it because we have a great chat with a lot of fun questions and stuff. The chat is absolutely amazing. Even now, I'm not saying the chat is bad now. The chat is great here too, but just letting you know, a lot of those guys might not have like dropped in today because it's not the usual time they see me. But yeah, I was just hanging around and I thought, why not I just put a stream up and talk to people? that's that's the most weird thing to do all of a sudden. But yeah, nonetheless. Now coming back to the position, guys, we are on game number 3, and this was the game where Gukesh striked back after losing game number 1. Big win for the guy, right? Like a big W for Gukesh for this one. It was a long game, and he really made Ding face the pressure. So it was d4, knight f6, knight f3, d5. He went for c4. This is the, what do you say? You can call it a queen's gambit, where you give up the pawn. You guys might be like familiar about queen's gambit from the series, right? I don't know how many of you have watched like the whole series. There's a Netflix series called The Queen's Gambit, which really made chess popular. Chess didn't make Queen's Gambit popular. Queen's Gambit made chess popular a lot, right? But nonetheless, coming back here, guys, c4 was played, e6 was played here. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight f3. So it's like a Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. That is what you call it. c6, all openings, guys. Queen c2, g6. You know why g6? Because you want to attack the queen with bishop f5. Simple. That's why g6 is played. And h3 was played. Attack the queen. I told you. Queen b3 now. And when they played queen b3, queen b6. So this is just offering both like each other trades. Because if they take me, I get it and get an open file. And if I take him, he takes me and he gets an open file for the rook. So it's like, you take me. Then the other guy is like, no, you take me. That's what's happening. But nonetheless, queen b6, g4 played, attacking the bishop. He takes, we take back, and white gets the open file. But the bishop says, I'm going to get this pawn. And trust me, guys, till the end of the game, you will now think that, why did this bishop even come here? Because this was that one reason, this one reason that black lost this game. Trust me. This is the reason. Oh, it was a great series. Yeah, right. It was very interesting. It was really cool. It came out during the COVID time, so it was even more popular, I guess, at that time. And chess was one of that sport or games that you could play during COVID, isn't it? People were all stuck. The world was stuck. But you can play chess anywhere. Not a problem. Even by yourself. Even though people might find it weird, you can still play chess yourself, guys. Don't worry. But nonetheless, bishop f4 was played, giving up this pawn. Lot of variations, guys. You give up this pawn. The reason is very simple. You get a lot of counterplay. Knight d2, attack the bishop. And if the bishop goes here, you can take it, and just think about this, e4. You take over the central squares, or even e3 is fine. You can go e3. You're taking over the center. This pawn will be gone for sure. Trust me. You can't hang on to it that easily. If you play b5 here, thinking that you can hang on to it, I can just take this. I just surprised you because if you take it, I can just go bishop g2. Who's Gukesh's second? Maybe I think I can let you know one of his major coaches. That is Gayevsky, who he has been working for a very long time now. But the other team of second, they will only reveal it after the World Championship is over. Otherwise, it's easy to predict the preparations, right? Uh, According to the players. So someone actually told me Daniel Dubois the last day in the chat. I think makes sense. Dubois would be a very good pick if someone has picked Daniel in the team. Very creative. I don't think Ding would have. Ding already has a creative genius in his team. That is Richard Rapport. Uh, I don't think they will go for one more guy, right? Maybe Gukesh might have it. But nonetheless, we will hear about that after the World Championship is over. So Bishop f4 was played, h5 by Ding. Ding just played some good moves in this game, but just couldn't make it. Rook g1 takes take, and here Gukesh just overextended one. Okay, he played knight d2 just to support the pawn on b3. Rook g8, very interesting. You know why? Because next move rook c1 is coming. Your bishop is getting trapped, can't go anywhere. But now if you play rook c1, he has this move g5, attack your bishop. And if your bishop goes anywhere, this bishop can walk back and he's just safe. He's not falling apart, right? So that was the whole point here. So let's just go back, guys, and let's see what is happening here. So that is the reason why he played rook g8. It looks like a very weird move, putting your rook from an open file to a closed file. Why would you do that? But this is the reason. You want to play g5, right? But he played g5, and this was a bit overextension by Gukesh. This pawn went a bit too far. Knight came to h5, attacking the bishop. He dropped back to h2. Rook came back to the open file because the rook said, my job is done. Now my bishop can come back to f5, which actually never happened. f3 was played just to play e4 and block this bishop. The whole game happened on this bishop, guys. It was a fun game. Knight came back. Now he's attacking his bishop. Bishop went to g3. Rook h5. This was a mistake because this really did not help Ding as Gukesh sacrificed this pawn. e4. This is what we are talking about. This bishop is just trapped. He's going nowhere. And at this point, Ding had to take the pawn. Takes back. He goes knight e6. He was desperately trying something to get something happening. But then comes rook c1. He gave up this pawn. Because when you take it, you think you're helping the bishop. But this is very hard to help because you get attacked here. Bishop f2. Look at this. The bishop is attacking the knight. The rook is attacking the bishop. I don't know what's going to happen here because this is hard to play. Bishop came to g7. And did I just say I don't know what is going to happen? Because I actually know what is going to happen. Because bishop came to g7, guys. And knight e2. Brilliant. See, Gukesh played a great game in this game, to be honest. He found great moves after great moves after great moves. And just Ding was just like, what the hell is happening? This guy finds everything. So knight e2 happened here. Knight takes b3. And finally, Ding decided that, okay, just give up that bishop. And he tried getting some pawns here. He had some play for it, but like very low on time, guys. If you see this, Ding had only 16 minutes on the clock. Gukesh had 43. And now Gukesh just kept playing good moves, getting himself out of the pin. Bishop g2 was played. b3 was played. Rook came to c1. And very soon, they just brought all the pieces in. And now, finally, Ding was down to 1 minute. And he had to still make how many? Like close to 8 moves here. Which was literally not possible. And he just fell apart here, guys. He just completely fell apart with rook h5. Knight f3 happened. Knight takes f3. King takes f3. And by the time the guy had only 1 minute, bishop d4. Gukesh was just trading. If you're thinking, why is Gukesh trading all the pieces? Because he has an extra piece. When you are up by a piece, trading is good. Takes. Bishop came in. Look at the snipers again. Today was a day that I could tell you guys a lot about the snipers, right? So f5 was played, bishop f4, attacking this rook. And by this time, I think, yeah, Ding lost on time. You guys would have seen on the internet, right? His hands shaking, piece falling, and then lost. That was this crazy game number 3. It was very crazy. And everybody was happy that Gukesh was back in the game. And it was nice. Gukesh was like down by a point. And with this loss, he was back. And this was winning for Gukesh too. This is clearly winning. He played a great game. Game number 3 for me is the best game for Gukesh. It's not game number 11, the game he won. That was just a one move blunder by Ding. I felt game number 3 was really interesting. This was a really strong game by Gukesh. He just completely put Ding under pressure and just created chances, right? Finally, guys, we are down to the last 2 games. And don't miss game number 1. because it is one of the most interesting games. I felt like so much of things to understand positionally, right? So here we go. Camera is off. Back to the same drill. Uh, right. Don't want to waste any of your times, but yeah, let's go to game number two. Here we go, guys. Game number two, which actually ended in a draw. This will be a very quick one, okay? This won't be a very long one. Game number two, because there was nothing too much here. And Ding, throughout this whole tournament, just played this only once. He actually played E4 only once in the tournament. Rest was all D4, the English, because Ding is a positional player, and I don't know. I'm not saying there's no positional chess in E4, but it's just that E4 might not be his thing, because the Ding that I've seen play all the chess has always played C4. I've seen him play C4 all the time. So just getting through this game quickly, guys. This is a very quick one, okay? We ain't taking time for this one because E4, E5, very common at top level chess. Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop C4. This is called an Italian. Some one of the first openings you all might have learned. Like all the guys learn out there, the Italian. Bishop C5, the Gukesh piano or the Jokyo piano. There's a lot of different names or pronunciations to it. You can let me know how you call it. But yeah, D3 played. The classical Italian setup, right? Knight F6, Knight C3 was played. This is the four knights in the Italian. You can call it like that. And the name justifies, right? The four knights have come out. So after the knights coming out, it was A6, A4 was played, D6 was played, castling, H6. And why does these moves like H6 come out, guys? It's very simple. You don't want to get yourself pinned on the knight. Simple move, right? Just get it not happening. Bishop E3, you're offering the trade for this very strong bishop, and if he takes you, you take with this pawn and you get a open file for your rook. So they played Bishop E6. A5 was played by Ding. This surprised Gukesh a bit. Takes, castle, takes. A lot of takes happening here. B3 was played. Queen takes D1. Rook takes D1. Rook D8. And Ding played a very interesting Rook C1. I thought Ding had something prepared here. But knight came to D4 Gukesh, and his knight said that, do you see me? Because there was a very interesting variation here, guys. I don't know if you really remember this game or something, if you have seen it or if you have not seen it. There's a fun variation. You might be thinking, why is this not being taken? This was only fun variation in this game. You take that pawn, and that is all chaos because this comes in. Now, where do you put this? If imagine someone normal is playing and he's like, I'm going to support this. No, you're not. Knight takes E4. Sacrifice this knight. Let him take it. F6. Attack this guy. Because the whole problem. Oh, or is it not F6 immediately? Sorry, not F6 immediately, guys. Knight E2, check first. Okay. The king comes out. You take the rook. This guy takes it. F6. So basically, black should be thinking I'm winning, right? It's not clearly winning because you can actually play the move King E3 here. And when you take it, F5. Look at this now. Look at this pawns coming. And look at this amazingly strong knight in the center of the board. It doesn't let the rooks to invade into your position. It can go to D4, but nothing better than that. So I think that is another reason why this variation is kind of very interesting. This is one interesting variation I saw in that game. But Ding said, nah, I'm not interested. I'm going to put the knight back, right? I thought he was going to go this way and put pressure on these two guys. Rook D6, King F1, G6, Rook D1. And then, guys, what just happened is like they just moved the pieces around and it was just a draw. Right? I told you this will be quick. And I'll coming to your question maybe. Do you think without Magnus in the World Championship, we'll see much more D4 Catalan structures? Even Magnus used to play those structures, maybe. Like, even Magnus used to play, like, if you look at his game against Nepomniachtchi, I think Magnus actually played a lot of Catalan kind of systems because Nepo was ready for everything. Against E4, Nepo was ready for the Petrov, and he was so solid with it that Magnus never even wanted to try. So it's the Catalan that actually gave Magnus the point in the World Championships. So yeah, Magnus has played almost everything in it, right? But yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if we are gonna see Magnus come back. It is not very likely very soon, but at some point, maybe when he wants someone like Ali Reza to come and challenge him. But it seems like everyone avoids E4 against him. Since when are you following the championships? Whom? Me? Oh, me? Oh, me? I've followed a lot of games, right? I've even seen like this would be historic for like a country like in India because Back in 2013, it was Magnus who came to India, who came to Vishy Anand. You all know Vishy Anand, right? Uh, he is he's the one who is the godfather of chess, maybe in India. And uh, Magnus came to his hometown and took the world championship away. That was maybe heartbreaking there. Yeah, just imagine your hometown like losing the world championship. Yeah, isn't it? Exactly. Just think about it. If I lose like that, oh my god, I would be like, wow, the world championship could have been anywhere in this world. It had to be here, right? It would have been frustrating for me. Um, but don't like, it doesn't matter what is frustrating for me. But anyways, but that is the thing about if Gukesh wins the world championship, right? I think he comes from the very same hometown as of Vishy, and it would be very interesting if he takes it back there and the whole change of generations and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my take on it. But that's why I feel if Gukesh wins, also it is fair enough. It's good for chess, yeah. But anyways, guys, we are off to the final game, right? And thank you so much. Like I've seen a lot of you guys who have stayed here for a very long time. If you have been following this recaps, it's great. I just wanted to do a recap of 12 games, and that's the most like mad thing that you can do at this point, right? Like one fine time of the day, you just decide that I'm gonna go in and do 12 games recap. Finally, I'm just gonna put live. I don't know who's gonna watch. I'm just gonna do the 12 games, and that was like crazy. You can't beat Magnus in a pure game of chess, which is not prep. He's just better in positions. True, Magnus has a great understanding of chess. I agree. That is what is hard to match. His understanding of where the pieces goes. And recently he was saying that he talks to pieces, which is interesting. But nonetheless, guys, the first game, we started from 12 today and we came back, and now we are at the first game. This is where it all started. This is where the whole world championship started at Singapore. So that is where you are right now. And if you are watching this, this was game number one, which actually ended in a result. Gukesh was playing the white pieces, his first world championship game. Ding coming out of bad form. And Gukesh decided to say that I'm going to go e4. And Ding said, I'm going to play the French. And this does make sense because there's a problem here, guys. With all the excitement, I forgot to change the whole thing. These things doesn't matter so much, but it's just like it's pure satisfaction, nothing else. I might be a design kind of guy. I like it when the designs are cool. I'm not saying this is cool, but I like it. That's all. Yeah. But nonetheless, one final stretch before we finish this off after this game. You guys can throw in any questions if you have. Uh, we are just about to finish off this final recap game. And here we go. And there we go. Okay, so this is game number one, guys. The final or the first game. Like, I just wanted to come start from game 12 and reach game one, which is the last and final game. And if you have made it till here, you are amazing, right? You're amazing because you just did not watch one recap. You made it through a lot of it. I don't know if a lot of them will, but still. Um, but anyway, yeah, talking to his pieces, maybe that's something different. That's actually something he said that he heard from the Russian school of chess or something, that you ask your piece, are you happy to be here? Not allowed if you do that while playing in a real game and you talk to your piece in between, like, hey knight, how are you doing? Your opponent will be like, what the hell is happening? Why you what like yeah. So anyways, coming back, okay, thank you so much, Neha. If I made you to stay, then I don't know, like, I, I just did something, like, we have done something right then. But anyways, e4 e6, the French defense, the first game of the world championship. D4 was played, d5 was played, controlling the center. It was knight c3. This is called a French classic variation, or the like Steinitz variation. Steinitz was a world champion. He was the first like world champion, officially first world champion, William Steinitz. So yep, that's all I know. But knight f6, e5, knight goes back. This is all common in the French, guys. f4, gaining more space in the center. Ding hits in the center. This is very common in the French. Knight comes back to e2 here. Knight c6 happened, and now comes the move c3. Just making sure that your center is looking great, right? All good for Gukesh. This was all fine for Gukesh, and then a5 happened. Ding was trying to gain some space in the queen side. And that's what he's saying. I'll play on the queen side, Gukesh. What are you gonna do? Gukesh said that okay, I'm just gonna develop my pieces. A4. And the reason is this pawn is trying to come and destroy this pawn chain, guys. To destroy this pawn chain, you have to destroy this base of the pawn chain. If this guy goes down, then only this goes down, right? So this was the situation here, and he plays the move bishop e3. Like Gukesh said, what I've learned from chess is that you develop your pieces in the opening, and that's what I'm doing. And Ging says, what about me? Then I'll develop my bishop. G4. So this whole action was happening this way, guys. Ding was attacking and playing on the queen side, uh, and while Gukesh was playing on the king side. So it was like punches on the king side versus the queen side. So Ding says, I'm gonna play more on the queen side. I'm just gonna go queen a5. Gukesh said, fine. I'm just gonna put the bishop here and castle. Ding said, fine. It's time for me to break your structure. A3. B3, he takes the pawn in the center. You can't take it with the pawn because it's pinned to the king. You have to take it with one of the piece. But here, Gukesh played an in-between move of b4. This is called an in-between move. Before taking back, you send this queen away, right? You can't do anything else. So he goes with the queen to c7. And now knight takes d4. You take the pawn in the center of the board with the knight. And here comes knight b6. Very interesting idea, guys. If you are good at chess, if you are new to chess, anything, understand this, that maneuvering your knight like this was amazing. Look at the knight coming to b6 and c4. This is called an outpost where the knight can't be kicked away by anyone. And he's coming to c4. An amazing square for the knight. Right? I love this square. I love this maneuver by Ding. And it's very easy to spot, but still I like this, right? I love it. Like, you can't complain. I just like it. So, Gukesh castled here. That knight is sitting on c4. That knight was a crazy knight in this whole game. Bishop came back to f2. Bishop d7 was played. Queen came to e2, guys. Knight takes what? Knight takes a knight. Okay. Knight takes back in the center. And now Ding plays the move knight b2. You know what is he playing against? He's playing against this pawn on c3. This is a weak pawn. And he says, I'm going to put all the pressure in the world on that pawn. How do you defend this? Keep defending. And Gukesh said, okay, I'll play rook, queen e3. Now, very simple question, guys. How do you add more pressure onto this piece? What do you do? Simple answer, right? Put more pieces on it. The queen and the rook is attacking this pawn now. So he plays rook c1. And when he plays rook c1, queen c4. This is the invasion of this game. I love this invasion. I always underestimate that a5, a4 push. It becomes horror, isn't it? Why take the knight and not take with the bishop? That's a good question, Peter. That was actually the mistake Gukesh did here. So sorry, guys, I just missed something important here. Because when they take it with the knight, the mistake that Gukesh did was to take with the knight. I think the better move was the bishop because it helps the c3 pawn too. The weakness was supported by the bishop. This was a better move. And it also helps this. And the whole plan for Gukesh in this game might be, guys, to break f5. It's to break f5 at the perfect moment, right? And this bishop would have been a great asset on d4. But a very small mistake by Gukesh was that he took it with the wrong piece. And then knight b2, pressure. You see that if the bishop was here, this was not a big of a pressure. But then comes queen e3, rook c8, rook c1, and slowly but steadily Ding is bringing his pieces in. The invasion has started, right? He's attacking this pawn, but trust me, guys, we don't go for those kind of pawns in the corners. You don't need pawns, right? You need to win games. So at this point, what happened was f5. Gukesh said, okay, just forget it. I just need to go all in. And now Ding made a move that Gukesh totally underestimated. Queen d3. He's offering the trade. You can't take the trade, guys. But just look at your position here. The rook is under attack. The pawn is under attack. This pawn is under attack. Everything is under attack. So you just can't take it. You can't trade the queens. This endgame will be just really bad for you when it goes into a clear, pure endgame. You have too many weak pawns because everything is overextended. So it's not good for you to do that, right? So at this point, I think Gukesh decided to avoid the trade. But here comes the invasion again. Here comes the invasion. Bishop to g5. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Look at the pieces here. Look at all these guys. And the moment the rook came to c2, here comes the next guy. Rook c4. Wow, this was too good. Like, you're just taking over your opponent's kingdom. Like, imagine this is somebody's kingdom, man. If this is not how you take over, then how do you take over? With the tactics that if you play something normal, next move's rook takes this knight. Because your rook will be unprotected after that. Is the second game. Not the second game. This is the first game where Gukesh lost, right? So, second game we have done it. You can scroll back and see all the games until game 12 in this stream. So, we went crazy today. We just all of a sudden decided that I'm going to do 12 games recap and that's the end. I'm just forget it. Yeah. But nonetheless, guys, so this is the position. He played h4. Gukesh went a bit desperate here. He wanted to try something. Do you think the bishop is going to go back? Never. Right? He's like, we are invading here, aren't we? Putting an eye on this pawn and a good square for the bishop on f4. The queen comes here. Very nice try from Gukesh because there's a trap here, guys. For example, you take this pawn. That's a blunder. You blundered because I take the knight. Your queen's in trouble. And if your queen takes my queen, I take this and I trick you. You have just lost a piece, my friend. But at the World Championship, you don't fall for such traps. But if you're playing in the clubs next door, do try this. This will work, right? There's going to be the video, right? There's gonna be the what? Oh, sorry, what's that? Frankly, I don't get it. Can you repeat that? I just came here and saw the first time someone analyzing the games in shorts live. Oh, really? Then you can catch me more on live, like even tomorrow, like 5 p.m. Singapore time. Game number 13. Don't miss that, guys. Okay. But coming back to this right now, so like Gukesh gave up a pawn. Sorry for everyone who was watching the game. I'm really sorry. Sometimes I get excited with the chat and it just go that way. I'm learning, guys, when to go, when not to go. So rook takes c3, rook takes c3, queen takes c3. The queens get like pieces are getting traded off. Uh, Not today, Zoro. Like, but I'll let you know that takes the queen, pawn takes pawn, and here comes pawn takes. This was a small mistake because you're opening up. What was supposed to be done was that you had to take up with the bishop, because when you're taking in this up, right, you will see what just happens is that knight e2. Gukesh forces the trade of more active pieces. This was actually a very good practical try by Gukesh. He gives up one more pawn, so he's now 2 pawns down, and now he takes the knight bishop on f4. They take it back. This was a very crucial point of the game for Gukesh, because even though he was down 2 pawns, there was a very nice move that could have done something called the restriction on this king. I know you guys will be seeing this because simple thing, guys, don't let this king castle. What do you play for that? What do you play to not let that king castle, which is called restriction? Any idea? Oh yeah, yeah, it will be. It will be. Yeah. Uh, but anyways, guys. But coming to this one, right? After the king being on e8, the only way that you have to stop him from castling, because this was the crucial point of the game, the move was bishop here. You're sacrificing another pawn. Just take the g4 pawn, right? Even if you take the g4 pawn, the whole point here is that 3 pawns down, the interesting part of this game is this king is stuck and the rook cannot come out. That is worth for 3 pawns because the rook is 5 points. Simple logic, right? Simple math. But there was a very nice move here. Have you seen it? Sacrifice the queen. Sacrifice the queen on h7. Crazy stuff. Because if you take the queen, it's a checkmate on f8. Imagine getting checkmated like that. Wow. But if you sacrifice the queen, the sad part is that black sacrifices the queen back. He's like, now you take my queen. Right? You take my queen. Uh, yeah, bishop c5. Oh, my queen. Oh, no, my queen. No, don't worry. Because there is queen d4 check. And if you take this queen, now I can take it. Can't I? Yeah, I can. And now we are winning, guys. And there's one more problem here. At this point, if you don't take it and move the king away, you can take h4 with a check. That is the whole difference. This comes with a check. Because previously, in this position, if you had taken this, that's also a blunder. Okay, it's not rook f8, it is queen takes the queen. You lost your queen because you can't take it again because rook f8 is mate. You see the problem, right? But the difference that the queen check made is that it took the king to the h file, so that once it goes to the h file, you take it again with a check. That is the difference. I hope you get it, right? So now this is losing because you can't checkmate me because you're in a check. Like, try to see your check, right? Yeah, the tempo, that one tempo, man. Very crucial in chess, isn't it? But nonetheless, let's go back. That's not what happened. The sacrifice never happened. Like, unlucky, right? It would have been a great sacrifice. But queen c2 was played. I think Gukesh, maybe he tried coming in with queen c5. Because castling is still a blunder. Castling would have been still a blunder because bishop c5 and you lose your queen. Right? So that's something he might have seen, but he missed a move here, guys. I think he really missed this move, queen c4. That was a very crucial move because now even this rook is not coming to this file. Now this queen is not here. Bishop c5 is not working. And there's a trade being offered up by 2 pawns on the board. Ding would love to trade queens here. And now Gukesh did not trade because when you're down material, guys, don't trade. You're going to just lose. That's like jumping off the cliff and expecting yourself to be saved. You won't get saved, right? You don't do that, isn't it? But nonetheless, he castled here, and once Ding got the castling done here, it's over. There was nothing. Trust me, that was the only thing holding him back in this game. And now you will see a masterclass from the world champion on how to win a one position. A very hard thing to do, okay? When you're winning, it's the hardest thing to do. Bishop comes to d4, knight comes to d3, queen comes to, what do you say? E3. Uh, but look at these moves like knight d3, disconnecting the queen and the rook. I mean, the bishop. What am I saying? Queen here. And now, when you're winning, what do, guys? Simple, right? Trade pieces. Just trade off pieces. That's the simplest way to do it. Trade it, takes it. And now you might be thinking, oh my god, this is, oops, no, that's not a pin. This is a pin, right? What do I do? Simple. E5. Hit him on d4. And if he goes with something like bishop takes it, simple stuff. You get things with checks. And when you get things with checks, that's good. And Gukesh was very low on time here, only 43 seconds. He just couldn't make it. Bishop came in and Ding was playing good move after good moves, right? He plays the move here. And now, do not get excited and do something because, for example, guys, this is checkmate coming, right? So you have to block it. Bishop e4. King came to h2. And again, don't be excited to trade now because, wow, you don't want to lose a world championship like that. Never happening. So Ding played a very simple h6. Now you know why h6 is played here, right? And at this point, yeah, and after the move h6 here, bishop h3, Gukesh had to make a move, but then queen comes to d1, threatening checkmate. This was almost over. There was a check here. He gives a check, king g3, and there was a fun movement here, guys. Queen takes a2, all good. This pawn's gonna be a queen and stuff. But then bishop e6, you have to be very careful, okay? This is what they say. Until the game is over, do not think it's over. Okay? A lot of times, once you get the advantage, guys, I've seen this a lot. People just think that, it's over. It's just over, right? But here the problem is that if you go king h7, that's a blunder. Can you spot why is that a blunder? That's my final question for the day. Why is king h7 a blunder, guys? It's a big blunder. Just imagine. Wow, you see the bar there shoot up. Bar's like, wait a second, why did you play that move? Anyone out there who wants to let me know? I know you guys might have got it. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Sacrifice the queen again. The problem here is that, guys, when you sacrifice that queen, it's a check too, right? They have to take it, and then you lose your queen on a2. And black can still draw this game. A lot of pawns, right? Only 2 pawns for white, but it will be hard. And you don't want to play such a game after playing such a good one. But lucky for Ding, he just had the move king h8, and the moment he played king h8, they shook hands, and this is how the World Championship started. We started from game 12. This is where we end. And that was a fun ride, man. I just think I just went crazy today. Like, I don't know why I even did this, but one fine moment I thought like, okay, I'm gonna set up my stuff, go stream this 12 games. But don't worry, tomorrow when we catch up, if you guys liked what you saw, of course you can hit those like button and you can show it there, and you can also subscribe and do everything like that. And even if you don't, guys, it's fine. Okay, it's absolutely fine. You watch this, it's okay. Okay, I'm just fine with it. It's just me and a lot of my madness happening here. But nonetheless, if you love this stream, that is great. And if you want to see what is going to happen in game number uh, 13, that is the World Championship game, the intense game 13 and 14, because they are now tied 6-6. So the game 13 and 14 is going to be really, really important. This will decide the World Championship. And if they still stay tied after 7 games, it will be a man gotta do what a man gotta do. Yep, that's what we gotta do, right? And if they still stay tied, guys, after 14 games, you go into rapid tie breaks. And if the rapid tie breaks stay tied again, they go to blitz tie breaks. And if the blitz tie breaks stay tied, then they go into Armageddon. And you don't want to miss that. Don't miss that, right? So I will see you guys all there. And do let me know if you have any questions, guys. That I do look like a Twitch streamer. No, I don't do it on Twitch, actually, man. Like, it's only been few days that I started streaming. I do make content on Instagram. Like, sounds weird, but I do. I make content on Instagram on chess. Like, you can catch me up, guys, there on the ID is the one chess, similar to what you see here. The one chess, yeah. That just type it completely lowercase the one chess, right? And you'll see me there. Um, that's where I make the short videos, which might help you if you guys like it. And we have a bigger community there at the moment. And then I've just started streaming for a few days, like only for this World Championship. That's it. nothing else. Okay, but I have done the streams from game 1 to 12, which you will be able to see later on. But as of now, this recap will be there. All 12 games are in here, guys, and thank you so much. Like, I see a lot of you guys have joined in. I'm not on Insta, that's why it's my first time discovering you. Maybe, right? But in Insta, it's a completely different scenario, man. Like, I do this 1 minute, 2 minute stuff, which is quite fun, right? But nonetheless, it was crazy, guys. Like, I had a great time this few hours. Thank you so much for everyone joining in, and I hope you had fun, right? I hope you had fun. So I'm not leaving. Just give me a second. I'm just checking something with the camera. Uh, so give me a minute. Yeah. So if you guys have any final questions, right? Yeah. If you have any final questions, do let me know. I would love to let you like talk to you. And yeah, if not, guys, tomorrow 5 p.m. Singapore time. That's where we will be going on with the FIDE World Championship Game 13. And that will be a much more chill stream because I don't have to finish anything. I just have to wait for them to make the move, right? So we can talk about a lot of stuff. The chat is great. There's a lot of people who regularly is joining in there. So yeah, so be ready for that. And great to catch up with all you guys in the chat today. It was really fun. It was really fun. And it's been some time since I've been doing it. I think I should have some snacks now and drop myself off. And you guys, wherever you have been watching this from, if it's morning for you, if it's evening, night, whatever, I hope you have a great day. And well, I did see streaming the World Championship is a good move because every streamer pulling. Not just because of that. Anyways, I'm watching, man. So it's always good that like I watch with everybody then. But nonetheless, everyone, that is it from my side with this stream. And if you guys like the stream, you can hit all those buttons before you leave. You can subscribe. You can catch me up all the time now because I will try to be consistently streaming from now because I like this whole thing, right? Otherwise, how will someone be dropping in at this and just recapping 12 games in a go? I could have done it one by one, but no, I had to do it the hard way. And now I feel tired. But nonetheless, I would have been worried if I didn't fly back. 4 a.m. EST is just reps. Oh, okay. So you better have a good time then. And yeah, 4 a.m. EST, right? I understand, man. It's a bit too early for you guys out there. It's a bit too early. But we still have people from there, from Texas and other places, right? So they're using the CST timing, which is 1 hour back from you, isn't it? And they're still there. So you have got some challenges. Well, nice to see your content. Just subscribe. We'll be joining tomorrow. See you guys. Thank you so much for joining in for all you guys. I'll see you all. Until then, you take care. Bye bye.
wanna see it all brighter. I should learn to let it go. I know I've never been a fighter. Let me know how I can grow. And if I seem to get closer, it's all getting out of hand. I have this never-ending screaming, always going in my head. We're on our own. Everything's an act, all so alone. Stuck on dial tone. We're on our own. Everything's an act, all so alone. Let me just go home. Let me just go home. Let me just go home. Shouldn't care about the faces. Find myself some peace of mind. I know I'm never going places. Do they have what I can't find? When the life is getting harder, every thought is just a dread. I have this never-ending riot, always marching